From the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas, the UTEP Miners getting set to play host to the Abilene Christian Wildcats. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Eric Elkin alongside former UTEP quarterback great Trevor Vidito. The Miners coming off a 59-3 thrashing at the hands of the Texas Longhorns, trying to bounce back with a win in Week 3. Meanwhile, Abilene Christian playing its first game of the season out of the FCS Southland Conference. And Trevor, a chance for the Miners to try and bounce back after that Week 1 opening win against Stephen F. Austin.
Well, no better opportunity for these guys but to come back home out in West Texas in the Sun Bowl and have an opportunity at redemption once they went down to Austin and didn't have the turnout that they would have wanted or that they would have expected. And so coming back tonight, they have an opportunity to go 2-0 at home, and that's always a great feeling to have.
Let's take a look at the quarterback comparison for these two sides. We put 3 on the screen because we'll see 2 play for the Wildcats tonight. But Trevor, let's start with the Miners. Gavin Hardison getting his 3rd career start, 2nd one at home, 1st one coming off of his 1st career road start. What are you expecting out of the redshirt sophomore tonight?
Well, I expect to see a lot of the things that we saw the first week of the season for these Miners. He was really good at his decision making. He got the ball down the field. He was very aggressive with what he was trying to do on the field, and he was making the right decisions. He had a little mishap against Austin, down in Austin last week, which would have been expected against a little higher competition. Nonetheless, we'll see a good game.
Meanwhile, for Abilene Christian, sometimes the saying goes, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none, but the Wildcats very excited about both of their quarterbacks, Peyton Mansell, the transfer out of Iowa, and Samaje Davis, the redshirt junior who has played just about every position on offense a year ago and will be featured prominently tonight. We have kickoff between UTEP and Abilene Christian coming up next from the Sun Bowl. Almost set for kickoff here at the Sun Bowl between the UTEP Miners, 1-1 on the year. Abilene Christian Wildcats playing their first game of the season here in 2020. UTEP just winning the toss a moment ago, electing to defer, so it'll be the Wildcats getting the football first as we see fairly clear skies and 82 degrees here at kickoff. Pretty comfortable night, little breezy. Eric Elkin joining you once again from the Sun Bowl alongside Trevor Vidito, the former standout quarterback here at UTEP. Let's take a look at the head coach for the Abilene Christian Wildcats, Adam Dorrell, in his 4th season with Abilene Christian. 13-21 so far with Abilene Christian, coming off a season a year ago at 5-7, but Adam Dorrell knows how to win, Trevor. A 3-time national champion at Northwest Missouri State, including back-to-back years in 2015 and 2016. Meanwhile, on the other side, Dana Dimmel leading the UTEP Miners, entering his 3rd season here. 3-23 career record at UTEP, 1-1 this year. That's the defensive coordinator, Mike Cox, but Dana Dimmel trying to get the Miners to win back-to-back games here at home and start 2-0 at home for the first time since 2010, Trevor.
Well, it's going to be an exciting day. If you look at what we have coming into the game, UTEP coming back from Austin, they're 1-1. They have another opportunity at home. And Abilene Christian, it's their first game of the season. So they're looking at all the excitement as here we are. We're going to figure out what kind of team we are this season.
And we are underway. Gavin Beckley's kick goes through the end zone, back for a touchback. So the Wildcats will take over 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. And we'll see which of the 2 quarterbacks will get the first snap of the game for Abilene Christian. We mentioned off the top, Peyton Mansell and Samaje Davis will both play tonight. And it's the transfer out of Iowa, Mansell, number 2 on your screen, who will take the first snap alongside Tyrese White for the Wildcats here. 1st and 10 as we get set from El Paso, Texas. Mansell, a junior, 6'2", 210 pounds, out of Belton, Texas. Came here from Iowa, did not play last year, played in 5 games in 2018. And on his first snap as a Wildcat, he tosses it to White. White's got some room to the outside, and it's a first down run on the first play of the game for Abilene Christian. Not the ideal start for the UTEP Miner defense, Trevor.
Well, that was a pretty good design to start the game, and what they're trying to do is get on the outside edge of this defense. And if you see what they did, they motioned one guy across the formation. They get heavy on that side of the field, and a quick pitch to the running back gets them outside very quickly. Nice design.
And we'll see Abilene Christian do this all night. They'll get in this muddle huddle offense. Talked to Dana Dimmel yesterday. He said they like to get up to the line, and sometimes we'll run it quick as they do a little toss on the play, and it'll be a gain of about 6.
And that was a good play. Number 6 coming around the end of line of scrimmage, Taylon Williams. They like to get the ball in his hands and get him on the edge of the defense. He's quick, he's shifty, he's fast. He's one of the guys that they love to get the ball in his hands.
Impact players for the Abilene Christian Wildcats. Kobe Clark, number 88, wide receiver, is not here tonight. He set the single-season school record for Abilene Christian a year ago with 87 catches, but had surgery earlier in the week, did not make the trip. So the Wildcats without their leading returning receiver. But Cade Parmalee anchors an offensive line that is really strong, especially from the center position to the left guard, left tackle. 3 returning starters on this offensive line. Parmalee playing in his 35th consecutive game for the Wildcats, and that was something that did concern Dana Dimmel, was the strength of this offensive line.
Well, it's one of the foundations of any offense when you look at it. If you have a solid offense, it's going to give either quarterback who's in the game confidence that they know they're going to have the protection that they should expect.
Miners initially stuffed the run. White trying to cut it back, but still nowhere to go. Was able to pick up 1. It could have been a loss on the play, so it'll bring up 2nd and 9. We take a look at the UTEP impact players on defense. Tyrese Knight has had a really good start to the season so far for the Miners, Trevor.
Well, Tyrese Knight is one of the guys, he's one of the heavy hitters of this defense. He's very vocal on the field, and he really gathers these guys to really push and play hard.
A JUCO transfer with the only sack of the year for this UTEP defense so far. They've had a hard time getting pressure on the quarterback. The toss to White to the outside, and the Miners are able to wrap him up. The ball falls loose, and it's picked up by the Miners. It was close whether or not White was down, but they're ruling it a fumble right now, and recovered on the play by Broderick Harrell.
Well, that was a crazy play. That was a great effort. They go back to what they started the game with on a quick pitch to the outside. Makes one guy miss, but what an effort to rip the ball as the running back is going down. That's one of the drills that many teams across the nation at all levels are telling defenders as the running back or whoever the ball carrier is going down, rip at that ball, punch at the ball, and create a turnover.
Davion Inyang forcing the fumble. He did that 2 weeks ago here against Stephen F. Austin. That really turned things around for the Miners when they got that turnover late in the first half and then ended up scoring 14 points in the final 2 minutes to end up going into the half with a 3-point lead. So Inyang forces the fumble to set up the offense and recovered by Broderick Harrell. So they do call it a fumble, and the Miners get a much-needed turnover after Abilene Christian was driving the football.
Well, I think that UTEP may have caught a break there. I don't know that that may have been a fumble that could have been possibly overturned as not a fumble. However, UTEP takes advantage, gets up to the line of scrimmage, runs a quick play, and quick pass out by Hardison to get the ball on the edge. They're trying to go the same direction Abilene Christian was, getting to the edge of the defense, however, in a different matter. Instead of a quick pitch, quick pass.
First catch going to Walter Don, who had 5 catches, 3 receptions, I should say, a week ago against Texas. Now on 2nd and 9, the quick throw out to the fullback is caught by James Tupou. Not an easy catch down at the feet, but Tupou able to corral it. And Tupou will see more playing time for the Miners tonight because Forrest McKee, the senior fullback, starting fullback out of Las Cruces Oñate High School, tore his ACL last week at Texas. So he is out for the year, and now it'll be James Tupou and Michael Young getting the playing time at fullback. So it brings up a 3rd and 5 for the Miners on their first possession. Our head referee, Anthony Perez, we weren't able to hear what he said there, but they haven't, no flags on the field, and they haven't moved the football up to this point. See if we can listen. It looks like he's having a little bit of a difficulty with his microphone as the red hat comes out right now.
I believe that he's saying the previous play may be under review. I'm not necessarily sure what they're going to be reviewing.
It would be the catch with Tupou. He caught that around his feet, so I guess they'll see if the football may have been scooped up off the turf or if Tupou actually caught the ball. Let's take another look. 31 at the bottom of your screen. The pass will come here. It's a low pass, and Tupou had to pick it up. If we have another angle, maybe we'll be able to see if it was short hopped or not.
Well, he sure was able to show his flexibility on that one to be able to reach down and catch it between his feet.
You saw the Abilene Christian defenders immediately start signaling incomplete, but it was ruled a completed pass. So you need conclusive evidence to overturn it.
I've been interested seeing how UTEP has come out their first round on offense. They've gone spread with 4 wide receivers, actually 3 plays in a row, and getting the ball out of his hands and really giving him opportunities to really settle into the game, get nice, easy throws, get him conditioned to the feel of the game and get him going. I think that may be because Haskins may not be in for this entire game tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Deion Hankins can play tonight for the Miners, a running back who really stole the show in week 1 here against Stephen F. Austin, but suffered a leg injury during the week, and they're not sure whether or not he'd be able to play coming into tonight. He is suited up. He did go through warm-ups, but we'll see if he ends up going. Dana Dimmel telling me he wouldn't play unless he was 100%, so he hasn't played yet, so it's up to Josh Fields, the starting running back. Of course, the Miners also losing Quadres Wadley for the year. Take another look at this play that they're reviewing right now, the catch by Tupou. And that one, again, it's just difficult to see if the ball bounces going into Tupou, that other angle from the end zone.
Well, one thing you would like to see if I'm Hardison is be able to get that ball up in a better catching position for his receiver. The guy's standing wide open with no defender around him. It's just pitch and catch, basically playing against air on that type of situation just there.
This is a rather lengthy review here from the officials, which is it's interesting, too, that just on that turnover a few plays ago, we didn't see a review on that play because you and I were both thinking that was very close to Tyrese White being down before the ball was stripped out by Inyang, but they didn't review that one. Miners take over, and now they're reviewing this one.
Well, with it being a turnover, I would think that they would look at it because it was very close on that fumble that it could have not been, but I think he called it incomplete.
Yeah, so that one gives you a better look.
We're going to back this one up, and we're going to have 3rd down and long. And I think with this amount of time, UTEP should have had plenty of time to dial up something to try and pick up this 3rd down.
You know, you laugh because all of that over 3 or 4 yards, but that's the difference between 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 9. So it's only a 4-yard difference, but it does change the play calling here on 3rd and 9. We'll see what the Miners can do on their first 3rd down.
Another spread formation for Hardison, 3 wide side and single man up top.
Hardison steps up into the pocket, and it's incomplete. So the Miners unable to convert on 3rd and 9. They'll have to send the punting unit out. And after the Abilene Christian turnover, they're able to force the punt and get the football back.
Well, a good defensive stance from the Wildcats' point of view coming into this week. All that we knew that they were going to play so many bodies out there on defense and try and find an identity for their team. And here tonight, that was a great start for their first defensive possession of the season to be able to get this offensive team off the field and get their opportunity back on offense.
Josh Sloan back deep to punt it. An end-over-end high punt. It's fielded by Brooks West, and he's got a seam. Cuts it back up to the 35 across the 40 before he's corralled down at the 45-yard line. A great return for Abilene Christian's Jordan Brooks West, the sophomore out of Fort Worth, Texas, who played at Florida Atlantic a year ago and SMU the year before that. So the Wildcats will take over near midfield when we come back right after this. You're watching UTEP versus Abilene Christian on ESPN3. 12:09 to play here in the first quarter. Both teams already with a possession. Abilene Christian turning it over on their first offensive possession. Then the Miners going 3 and out, unable to turn it into any points. So here come the Wildcats again, and it's right back to Tyrese White, who fumbled on his last carry. And this one's a good one across midfield and up near a first down for the Wildcats.
Well, that was a good pickup to start this drive for the Wildcats, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with the quarterback situation. How are they going to break down the offensive play between these quarterbacks, and how are they going to get their plays in? Is it going to be situational, or is it going to be series by series? It'll be great, good to see.
Go play action this time. Manziel lobs one over the top, and it's caught inside the 30-yard line. Nice catch from Taylon Williams, and that sets up Abilene Christian deep in UTEP territory. You saw Manziel just drop that one in there perfectly, Trevor.
Well, that was a perfect throw. He was very slow on his read. I wouldn't say slow. He was very patient on his read. Saw his receiver come open right over the top on the outside on a nice corner route. Lays it in there perfect. A good, nice hookup to get them down to the red zone here early in the first quarter.
Wildcats running out of the pistol. Toss to White. Miners have it covered well this time, but White's still able to get up near the original line of scrimmage. Kelton Moss in on the tackle for the Miners.
For Abilene, number 24.
Well, if I'm Coach Doral of the Wildcats and I'm watching my running game right now, I like what I'm seeing out of White. There's been multiple situations already early in this game that is showing that he has the ability to make guys miss in the backfield and get himself back to the line of scrimmage, because UTEP is really getting off the line of scrimmage and getting into the backfield, but great effort to get back to the line of scrimmage.
This is a big opportunity for White with Billy McCrary, a senior, out. Was injured last year after the first 4 games, had season-ending surgery. As Manziel goes on the run and is pushed out of bounds right around the 13-yard line, but Billy McCrary played 4 games last year, injured his shoulder in the preseason, ended up ending his season with shoulder surgery, was granted a medical red shirt, and was a Southland Conference all preseason player a year ago, and this year again as we take a look at Manziel on the run. But McCrary just not ready yet, hasn't practiced much, so he's not available, which opens up the door for Tyrese White.
Well, it's the next man up. Anytime you're looking at a football team, there's a depth chart, because there's always going to be something coming in to replace in situations or replace if people get hurt. So we'll see what the backups can do tonight.
3rd and 5. They toss it out to Dobbins this time. Jeremiah Dobbins with his first carry, and it's inside the 5-yard line and good enough for a first down. 1st and goal. Jeremiah Dobbins, the freshman out of Lubbock, Texas, nearly with his first collegiate touchdown on his first carry.
Well, a good effort, and here they go again, trying to hit the edge of the line of scrimmage. If you watch the defender, number 23, he doesn't keep his contain on the outside. That quick pitch to the outside definitely makes it a lot easier to get out and block 2 smaller guys versus blocking the big guys in the middle.
Place the ball at the 2-yard line, 1st and goal for Abilene Christian. And outside of the turnover on the first drive, they've really moved the football effectively. It's right back to Dobbins. He gets a second surge and pushes his way across the goal line for the touchdown. Second effort touchdown from Jeremiah Dobbins, the freshman, with his first collegiate touchdown and the first touchdown of the season for Abilene Christian.
Well, how exciting for this team to travel across Texas and make it out here to El Paso and take the lead on the UTEP Miners here on their second drive of the game. What an effort. And for Dobbins, you said it before, he almost scored his first collegiate touchdown. They turn around, give it to him again, and what an effort to not give up when he's first punched at the goal line to be able to still get into the end zone.
Blair Zepeda on to tack on the extra point. His kick is through. And the Wildcats have themselves a 7-0 lead after the 2-yard touchdown run from Jeremiah Dobbins.
So Wildcat 7.
We're back right after this.
Fans, as a reminder, please stay in your assigned seats and remain socially distant.
Abilene Christian with a 7-0 lead early in the game here against UTEP. Jeremiah Dobbins with the touchdown run. This isn't the first time that UTEP and Abilene Christian have squared off, but you have to go a long ways back to the last time. It was all the way back in 1959. Abilene Christian actually leading the all-time series 3-2, and they won that last meeting in 1959. But a lot's changed between now and then. Eric Elkin alongside former UTEP quarterback Trevor Vidito, including your entire career here, Trevor.
Yeah, it's been quite some time since these teams have last clashed, and I tell you, it does hit kind of special for me considering, wow, what a big hit, but considering the fact that UTEP is my alma mater, and I've got some family members that are Abilene Christian Wildcats themselves, so it is pretty special to me.
That was Justin Garrett on the kick return. You may be wondering why he's wearing number 2. Well, with Quandres Wadley out for the year now, Justin Garrett has asked to take over number 2 to honor the late Luke Laufenberg. And you can also see on the back of his jersey there, he's not wearing his last name, Garrett. Instead, he will wear Laufenberg on the back of his jersey. He'll do that all year for the rest of the year, with the exception of the October 17th game. He'll go back to wearing number 17 on October 17th to honor his late sister. That number honors the date that she passed away. So a nice gesture from Justin Garrett, asking to switch to number 2, and a really neat storyline to continue honoring Luke. The whole team wears the Luke stickers on the back of the helmet, but that way number 2 stays on the field even with Wadley out.
Well, it's a special honor to be able to represent one of your fallen brothers, and you know, his long, hard fight with cancer. And so for Luke Laufenberg, all of his brothers still love him. They want to have him on the field next to them, and what a great way to show their respects to him.
2nd and 10 for the Miners. Hardison to throw, and the pass is bobbled and dropped by Devon Cooper. It was in the breadbasket, but wasn't able to hold on to it.
Well, those are the ones that'll really leave your coach scratching your head. Those are the nice, easy pitch and catch throws, a nice 5-yard in route by the outside receiver. Hardison waits, takes his time, throws a nice, easy, catchable ball, puts it right in his face, and drops the ball. It's thinking about trying to get up the field before you actually make the catch. Catch the ball and take it with you.
And it was soft coverage by Corey Richardson, so the opportunity was there. So instead of 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 10. Hardison has to step up into the pocket and can't get out of the pressure. He goes down back at the 20-yard line, taken down by Jordan Pop. And it'll be 3 and out for the 2nd straight series for the Miner offense.
Well, the Wildcats have shown up no matter who they have on the field defensively. They're showing up and showing out. What a great way to get pressure on this quarterback in Hardison. And what they did is they rolled down to a 3-deep coverage. They brought one safety down to the middle of the field, and maybe it confused him on his read, threw him off a little bit, but gave the defensive line just enough time to bring it home.
Will Morgan in there too. And Josh Sloan right back out there for his 2nd punt of the night. He's got the breeze at his back. This is a high end over end kick. This time fair caught by Brooks West. He had a nice return on the first one, but the hang time there, able to get the punt coverage team down the field, and Abilene Christian will take over 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line.
Well, another opportunity for this offense to hit the field, and a great way to return to the field when you just come off a scoring drive. Your defense goes 3 and out to get you back on the field. That's an easy way to keep the momentum going for your offense. And with them, this being their first game of the season, this is a way that they can really establish who on the team is going to be the playmakers and who's going to be able to help them win games this season.
So the Wildcats with 2 possessions so far, a turnover on the first one, a fumble after they were driving the ball in UTEP territory, and then they took the 2nd drive right down the field and were able to score on a Jeremiah Dobbins touchdown run. Already 47 yards rushing on the ground for Abilene Christian. They were a good running team a year ago. Struggled a little more through the air, but of course new quarterbacks. It's still been all Peyton Mansell so far. We expected to see 2 quarterbacks, but it's been all Mansell so far, and this time nowhere to go. Wrapped up and taken down by a slew of Miners, including Stephen Forrester and Kelton Moss.
Well, Kelton Moss, big guy right in the middle, number 7. You're not going to miss him. He's blowing up in the middle, but this play didn't really work here for Abilene Christian. What they're doing is they're doing that muddle huddle we talked about earlier in the game, kind of huddle short behind the line of scrimmage and break out and run a play really quickly. UTEP seemed to be ready for it that time.
Praise Amahuli there as well. It was just a ton of pressure from the Miners, something we haven't seen much of this year. Only 1 sack on the year coming into this game. And remember, UTEP, one of just 9 teams playing 12 games this year, so they've played 2 already. As that pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage, it'll be incomplete. Knocked down by Praise Amahuli, using all of that 6'10" wingspan to knock down the pass.
Well, that was a great effort. If you saw UTEP line up on this play, they only had 3 down linemen to pressure the quarterback on the play. And at the very start of the play, the Wildcats released their offensive lineman. If I'm a defensive lineman, in my head, I know if they let me go that easy, there's something coming behind me. There's a screen. Stop, get my hands up, redirect. Great play by Praise Amahuli there.
That's a really good sign for this Miner defense. Praise Amahuli a little bit quiet through the first 2 games. They really expected a lot from the redshirt sophomore this year, who I mentioned a moment ago has that 6'10" wingspan. And they were really excited about what he could do this year. We called him the bell cow of the defense, but after a quiet couple of weeks, Miner defense liking to see what he's done on the last couple of plays. As that pass by Mansell is caught, but it looks like out of bounds and incomplete. He was looking for Brendan Harmon, who has a long wingspan of his own at 6'6", but he caught it out of bounds, so it goes incomplete, and the Miner defense gets a much-needed 3 and out.
Well, I think they went back to their breadbasket of what they did on the last drive and running a flood route towards the deep side of the field. And Mansell did have the over route coming. He just floated a little too far to be able to keep it in bounds.
So the first time we see Logan Burke back to punt it for Abilene Christian. Justin Garrett deep to receive. This one a high kick but short. Bounces at the 41-yard line out of bounds. A short punt gives the UTEP Miners offense some good field position. See if the offense can finally get something generated after a pair of 3 and outs. And we'll have that for you coming up right after this. Miners trailing 7-0.
We're about to see a run right here. This is how we always set up to run the ball.
Yeah. Just a 28-yard punt from Logan Burke for Abilene Christian. So the Miners get good field position on their third drive after a pair of 3 and outs. They go play action, and the pass is caught over the middle by Cowing into Abilene Christian territory up across the 45-yard line. The first down of the game for the Miner offense.
Well, what you saw here was a nice run pass option. I don't know if this one was actually a play action and a designed pass to Jacob Cowing over the middle, but a great play. Great read and a good accurate throw. We've seen him throw a few balls down by his receiver's feet. Makes it a little bit easier when he gets it up in their face.
12th catch of the year for Cowing after a big week 1, where he went over 100 yards receiving. Gets his first catch here tonight at the Sun Bowl. And the first rush of the night for Josh Fields, someone we expected to see a lot of tonight with Deion Hankins. Potentially a no-go. He is suited up on the sideline, but yet to play. And Dana Dimmel again saying he wouldn't play unless he was 100%. So up to this point, it's been all Josh Fields in the backfield so far.
Well, Josh Fields has some experience, and he's a gritty runner himself. And any opportunity that he has to touch the ball, you can expect that he's going to go all out. So with Hankins out, I can think back to my playing career, and luckily I never had to sit out of a game when I had the ability to play. But I just know he's chomping at the bit to be able to get on the field.
Fields with a pickup of 3 on the play, and it brings the play action here on second down was intended for Garrett, and instead it's incomplete, so it'll bring up third down.
Well, the exact same play that we saw from the other side of the field, we run it actually to the opposite side, and number 12 for the Wildcats was great coverage. Tristan Anderson to have his hand in and rake that ball out. It was an accurate throw. I think the pass would have been complete had he not been on his back like that. Great play.
Tristan Anderson, the sophomore out of Rockwall, Texas, a transfer from Arkansas State here for Abilene Christian. And now it's 3rd and 6. Hardison facing some pressure but gets it off. Intended for Cowing. A little bit of contact there. Cowing goes down, but no laundry on the field, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Well, a good effort to try and stretch the field and take a shot here. UTEP has been throwing the ball underneath routes, easier things to complete within about 10 yards. They stretch it out, threw it down the field, and the defender may have been there slightly early, but there was no laundry left on the field, so
I wonder if they're ruling down. No, that would be catchable. It's definitely within reach there for Cowing. And on 4th and 6, you think maybe a decision time for Dana Dimmel, but this early in the game around midfield after the series the defense just had, they elect to send Josh Sloan back out there and try and win field position. High end over end punt, and they let it bounce, but it takes a backwards bounce, and it's still downed inside the 20 after a little bit of contact there.
Little team effort.
Little team effort to make sure that ball was still inside the 20.
Well, a little easier to punt the ball going to the closed into the stadium with the wind coming at the back of UTEP. We saw a shorter punt from the Wildcats on their last drive. It got up in the air, and the wind really slowed it down. It hit a wall and dropped it short. So if they can move the ball, it's going to be hard to switch field position if they can't move the ball down the field.
Gabe Flynn taking a licking there. That's the kind of punt that Josh Sloan wants there, the freshman out of Melbourne, Australia. He just wanted that to bounce inside the 5 when it took that backwards hop. Nevertheless, it's still inside the 20 to start here for Abilene Christian. And for the first time tonight, we'll see Samaje Davis behind center in the pistol. And they toss it out to Tyrese White, and White is tripped up after a short gain.
One thing I see different is a new quarterback in the game. One thing I see that looks the same, the quick pitch to the outside. It seems to be working for them. They keep going in their bag, going to the quick pitch. Maybe they see something that the UTEP defense is giving them, that outside edge.
And a lot of times when you play two quarterbacks, one tends to be a stronger runner, the other a stronger passer. But Adam Dorrell saying earlier in the week, these guys are more or less the same quarterback and are neck and neck, as this pass is completed to the outside to L.J. McConnell. So the first completion of the night for Samaje Davis. So you're not necessarily going to see one package or another between these two quarterbacks. You're still going to see the same offense, just different guys running it.
Well, it's really good if I'm an offensive coordinator that I have two different guys that are gifted and talented enough to not only be able to be an athlete and run the ball around, but to be able to direct an offense, make reads, and make good, accurate throws down the field. And for these guys, like you said, it doesn't matter who's in the game. They're both really good at which way you look at their game. And so for Coach Dorrell, he's pleased to know that he has two guys under center that can lead this offense, and each of them are going to have an opportunity to prove that tonight.
They get out of the huddle quickly and hand it off to the fullback, trying to get up to the 29-yard. Looks like they'll spot it just shy of the 30, so it will be enough for a first down. TJ Tumbleson picks up the first down with a gain of 2. And if that didn't tell you enough, Trevor, both quarterbacks were voted team captains. It's not very often you see two quarterbacks team captains. So Manziel and Davis, both captains on this team.
Well, that's really awesome that the entire team is looking up to both of them as leaders of the team. A lot of times the quarterback just has a natural expectancy to be a leader of a team. And for an entire club to vote on these two players to be the team captains, I think that really says a lot about these two football players.
John Crisp getting out of his stance, the left tackle, before the snap. So a false start. We'll push it back 5 yards, 1st and 15. That's something that Adam Dorrell also said about Samaje Davis, that he's really seen him grow into more of a vocal leader. He was more of a quiet, reserved guy, but obviously at the quarterback position, you can't really be a quiet, reserved guy.
Well, a lot of times eyes are on you and looking for guidance from your teammates, and you're stepping into the spotlight when you decide to be the quarterback, and there's no other better way to show your teammates that you're there for them than to be that vocal leader and be the physical leader there.
Davis on the keeper, and he's got nowhere to go. Keenan Stewart keeping the edge there for the Miner defense, and it'll be a loss of a half a yard.
Dennis Barnes makes the stop on number 4, Samaje Davis.
Dennis Barnes also getting in there to trip him up.
2nd down and 16.
What I would like to see out of this UTEP defense is them being able to wrap up the ball carrier a little better in the backfield. They're having multiple opportunities where they're able to bring a guy down in the backfield. They're making one guy miss and at least getting back to the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 16. They go back to that toss out to White. He tries to cut it back into the middle, but there's nowhere to go for him once again. Maybe this Miner defense starting to figure it out a little bit. Stephen Forrester right there waiting patiently for that cutback.
Well, it's the same run out of different formations. They're just trying to confuse the defense and give them a different look offensively and where they're lining up. But their choice of play calls is the quick sweep to the outside and trying to let White make a move, make a guy miss, and make a big play out of it. They're set up for 3rd and long here. Let's see if Samaje Davis is able to force this ball down the field and get a first down.
Need to get to the 40-yard line. They set up the screen, and Davis threw it into the feet of Tyrese White, and it looked like he had some room and it was set up, but the throw not there. It goes incomplete, and for the 2nd consecutive possession, the Miner defense is able to get the ball back to the offense. They did give up the 1 first down, but no harm, no foul.
Well, they try and go to a quick swing screen offensively and still try and get to the edge of the defense. And the ball was thrown at the running back's feet. I'm not sure if he was either just throwing the ball away or if it was just a really inaccurate throw. There was a defender there close by, and maybe it was a smart play to get the ball down. But here's another punt going into that swirling wind of the Sun Bowl.
Just 28 yards the last time, and the Miners almost get to it, but Burke is able to get the punt away. There is a flag on the play. The punt only went to just the other side of the 50-yard line, but we'll see if the Miners got a little too aggressive on Logan Burke.
Well, I know they came in contact with the punter on the play. I don't know if they got a hand on the ball, and which would offset a flag for roughing the kicker. Let's see what the call is.
The flag is down at the 27-yard line, though. But they are calling it a personal foul, and Dana Dimmel is livid.
Well, you hate when your defense goes out to get your offense back on the field. They go the opposite direction offensively, did the Wildcats, and back up 5 yards, and to give them a free first down when you're already getting the ball back on a punt, that'll really blow your hat off.
That was 4th and 16. And the 15-yard penalty comes with the automatic first down, so it moves the chains, and now the Abilene Christian offense comes right back on the field. Bookmark that play. The Miners were about to get the ball back around midfield.
Well, we're looking at this offense having another opportunity to continue this drive. Sometimes that's the one thing that you need to keep a drive going and be able to get down the field and be able to score. Defensive penalties are really hurting on defenses, and for offenses, you try and take advantage of that. But we look back out here now, and we have Peyton Manziel back at quarterback for the Wildcats.
Yeah, it's back to Manziel and on the ground to Dobbins, and Dobbins trying to find the edge and does, and there could be another personal foul here, but it looks like they're not going to throw the flag there. Dobbins was kind of slung out of bounds. It looked like after he stepped out, but the Miners fortunate not to get the penalty here. Inyang kind of give him that little extra that sometimes you see the officials will throw the flag for.
Second down and 1.
They can throw it all the time, but what I'm really picking up about this Wildcats offense right now is early on in the game we spoke about their big offensive linemen in Parmalee, and many of their runs tonight thus far have been to the left-hand side. Maybe they're running behind him as being their most solid offensive lineman. Not only Kate Parmalee, but John Crisp as well at left tackle.
All seniors on that left side. That's the strength of this offensive line. They go to the right side this time, and the Miners have it covered well, although Dobbins just continues to churn those feet and has enough for the first down up to the 45-yard line. That's much like what we saw in that touchdown run from Dobbins earlier in the quarter.
Dobson carries the ball.
The Miners had him, but he used that second effort to get across the goal line.
Well, you called it. That was the second play that we've seen him not give up whenever he does make contact with a UTEP defender. He keeps driving those legs, and so for all of you young running backs out there, watch this kid play right here. He doesn't give up on any runs, and he keeps pushing that pile backwards down the field where he needs to go.
A 5'9", 185-pound freshman out of Estacado High School. Now Manziel will go to the air, and he's got his receiver, but it's incomplete off the hands of Harmon. Delivering a lick on the play was Broderick Harrell, and it looked like a clean hit. No flag on the play.
Well, it was a really good read by Manziel. It was a cover 2 formation by the UTEP defense, and so for cover 2, Broderick Harrell, he's got to cover the whole second or one half of the secondary. He widens before Manziel tries to stuff the ball in that little hole in the sideline. It was a good, accurate throw, but great defensive play to be there right on time.
And I don't know about you, but every time I see a hit like that, bang, bang, I just wait for that flag to come out there with the way the rules have changed. But that was a clean hit by Harrell, and it brings up 2nd and 10.
Well, I think if I'm a receiver, that's one of the things that's always in my mind. If I catch this ball, I could get hit, but makes it a little bit easier to catch the ball and get hit than to drop it and still get hit on the same play. So
that play blown up right from the gate. The Miners really just waiting for those tosses to the outside now. There is a Miner down on the ground, slow to get up. Looks like it's Jason Van Hook, the starting linebacker. But Dobbins again showing that he's really not easy to bring down.
Yeah, well, Van Hook, he took the worst of that tackle. He's trying to wrap up and has his teammate come in swinging around and definitely got rolled up on. That may be a high ankle sprain, and that's something that can definitely hold people out anytime. We're looking at Hankins in the way that he's out this week right now so far in the game. This could be another situation for Van Hook, hopefully not so.
The redshirt senior coming into tonight with 4 tackles and a half a tackle for loss. And this would be a big blow for the Miners, as they are really excited about this change from the 3-4 to the 4-3 defense. They thought this would allow him to make some more plays. He is able to get up off the field under his own strength, but a little bit hobbled. Ended up being a loss of 3 on the run. So it'll bring up 3rd and 13 for Abilene Christian. Manziel steps up and will run across the 40 and takes a lick just shy of the 35-yard line. Going to be close. Justin Prince losing the helmet on the play because he hit him so hard, and it looks like he was able to prevent the first down, at least for now.
Abilene Christian, they come with a drag package where you have multiple receivers running drags across the field and trying to confuse the defense. If it's man, they run with the guy. If it's zone, you're trying to pass off and shuffle who it is that's coming into your zone, who I'm in a coverage. But that leaves them with a 4th and short with his effort to run and pick up so much yardage on the play. 4th and 1, they're going for it here quick.
Manziel under center. A handoff again to the fullback. It's Tumbleson, who already has one third down conversion, I should say, and now trying to get a 4th down conversion. And it looks like they will move the chains.
Well, make it easy, give it to your big fullback and let him punch and drive his legs and get that 1 extra yard you needed. And that's one thing that Coach Dimmel was worried about, the little muddle huddle and the quick break by Abilene Christian, getting up to the line and snapping it nice and quick. But that play does bring us to the end of the first quarter.
At the end of the first quarter.
The end of the quarter with Abilene Christian leading 7-0 after a big 4th down conversion. Will continue their drive at the start of the second quarter. You're watching UTEP and Abilene Christian from El Paso, Texas on ESPN3.
Fans, officials, campus communities, and others associated with Conference USA. Please follow COVID-19 safety protocols established.
First play of the second quarter is a -1 for Abilene Christian. LJ McConnell trying to get the end around, and the Miners read that well. Big loss on the play, loss of 5. Brings up 2nd and 15. It was a dominant first quarter for Abilene Christian on the stat sheet. Outgained the Miners 107-13. 9 first downs to just 1 for the Miners, and they're driving again here inside UTEP territory. Manziel on the run, lowers the shoulder, and is taken down. You don't necessarily like to see your quarterback take those kind of hits. Stephen Forrester wasn't having any of it.
Well, if I'm a quarterback and I drop back and I break the pocket and I'm getting out, the first thing I want my receivers to do is the scramble drill. Try and find an open position on the field, working the same direction I am to give me a way to get rid of the ball versus trying to lower my shoulder and run into 2 defenders like he did on the play.
Picks up 3 yards, but it's 3rd and 12. And they go empty. And now White rejoins Manziel in the backfield. Manziel to pass. Throws the check down to Harmon. And a minimal gain on the play. The Miners defense gets the stop it needs. It brings up 4th down and kind of in a no man's land territory here for Abilene Christian. So maybe running that play, Trevor, to try and just gain some yards to see what they can do on 4th down. It'll be 4th and 8.
Well, try and pick up some yardage. You've got the wind at your back now, and what better way to try and give your kicker an opportunity to kick the first field goal of the season with the wind at your back and kicking it down the field. And that looks like what they're going to do. They move the ball up just enough to give them an effort at a 50-yard field goal.
Blair Zepeda on there to try. He had a long of 51 last year, and as you mentioned, Trevor does have the wind at his back. This one from 50. And then they run the fake, and the Miners had it read, but Zepeda is able to get around the edge and still not able to get enough. Justin Prince saving the day for the Miners. It looked like for a moment there that Zepeda may have some room around the edge, but Miners special teams alert there, containing the edge.
Oh, that was exciting to see a little trickery done here in the first half. I don't know that I was expecting that. I thought we may have an effort at the field goal, but you don't often see a kicker have an opportunity to break a tackle and keep running to try and pick up a first down. But great effort, a better effort by Prince on the play to not lose contain, chase him down, and force the turnover on downs.
Like I said, just trying to figure out what they could run with a little bit shorter of a 4th down offensively. Turned out it was a fake on special teams with the kicker, didn't work. But it'll be 1st and 10 for UTEP and see if this offense can get something going. It was an ugly first half for the Miner offense. And they start on the ground with Fields. Breaks off the first bit of pressure there, but only able to get back up to the line of scrimmage. The Miners rushing for -2 yards in the first quarter, and that one goes for nothing.
Well, not a good start on the ground for the UTEP offense,
21,
and for
Josh
Fields.
carries the ball for UTEP.
I'm just thinking, if you can block the first line of defenders as the offensive line, give me a chance to get to the second and third level defenders, we may have a chance here. But that all boils down to the offensive line and what they can do to come together and create some running lanes for this running back.
And Fields, one of our impact players tonight because of the injury to Deion Hankins. He's suited up but still hasn't seen the field. So at this point, it seems like he may not tonight. So it's going to be heavily on Fields after they lost Wadley officially to the year, as that pass is complete over to the middle to the tight end, Trent Thompson. It is for a first down. Only the second one of the game for the Miners.
Well, a nice play call. They motion to make it look like they're having a power running form from the shotgun position. The nice quick play action and release your tight end right over the top of the linebackers. As soon as they commit to the run, drop it over the head. Nice, easy pickup for the first down.
Pickup of 20. Just the second completion of the game so far for Gavin Hardison.
I hate when that happens, when I'm out there running on the quarterback and let him go pick up the yards for you. Great play call.
First and 10 from the 34-yard line. The Miners got up to the line of scrimmage quickly, but now changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Run pass option, the pass complete over the middle. That's Justin Garrett. And Garrett is taken down at the 20. Another first down for the Miners.
Well, I think 3 of the completions for Hardison tonight have come off of the same run pass option, a quick play action up the middle and drop it into the receiver that's running over the middle of the field. Uncovered by the Wildcats. That's something that they're going to have to make an adjustment to, or there's going to be open receivers over the middle for UTEP all night.
See impact players for Abilene Christian's defense. We haven't called Jack Gibbons' name too often. He was second on the team with 104 tackles last year. Dana Dimmel saying he's a guy that I think anybody would want to have play on their team. But the Miner offense rolling right now. And into the red zone on this Fields carry, trying to get more up across the 15. Good first down gain run for Josh Fields, who up to this point had just 2 carries for 4 yards.
Well, I like the mix-up of offensive play calls here. There's been a few run pass options and a few handoffs on this play, and not to mention the nice run by Hardison on the designed quarterback run. But this is an efficient drive for UTEP, and you like to see them be able to settle down and be able to work their way down the field and have an opportunity to put some points on the board.
6-yard gain brings up 2nd and 4. Garrett comes in motion, and they hand it off again to Fields outside. He breaks the first tackle and gets up near the 10-yard line, and it looks like his forward progress brings him up to the 9, so it'll be 1st and goal for the Miners.
Well, the way to run tonight, whether you're in orange or you're in gray and purple, seems to be over that left side of the line.
It's 1st and goal, UTEP.
Josh Fields, the senior out of America's High School here in El Paso, ran for over 300 yards out right now, and he's starting to show it here in the second quarter. But this time, the Abilene Christian defense gets in and swallows him up. Quint Titt with the tackle and a loss on the play.
Well, great effort by the Wildcats here to stop them at the line of scrimmage and force a long second and goal situation for the offense here. You're up 7-0. UTEP has been able to walk down the field up to this point, but if you can bend your back, bow up on defense, and hold them and force a field goal, you accept that as a win on defense for the drive.
Miners spread it out with 4 wide receivers on 2nd and goal. Run pass option. Hardison flushed under pressure, throws it into the turf. I don't know if that got up across the line of scrimmage. No flag on the play yet. There was a receiver around the 8-yard line.
I think there might have been a little confusion on the outside. Hardison pulled it as if it was going to be another
3rd down and goal.
Run pass option, and he wanted to throw the ball, but the wide receivers on the outside looked like if they were almost blocking the defenders and no one necessarily looking for the ball on the play.
So now it's 3rd and goal for the Miners. This drive was rolling in the last couple of plays, has come to a halt. See if the Miners can get it done on 3rd down. Over the middle, pass deflected and incomplete. He was looking for Fields over the middle out of the backfield.
Well, the accuracy was definitely there on the play. He drops back, makes the read. They try and clear out the defenders, back them up, and bring the running back from the backfield underneath the defenders, drop it down to him, get a completion, and try and find a way into the end zone. Fields just wasn't ready for the ball. It hits him right in the face mask on the play. Luckily, it didn't bounce up in the air for a potential turnover or interception down in the end zone for this Miner offense.
It'll be a 27-yard try for Gavin Beckley, 2 for 3 on the year. His lone miss from 49 yards last week at Texas. This one right from the middle, and the kick is perfect. So the Miners, with 8:31 left in the second quarter, get on the board for the first time tonight. But UTEP still trailing Abilene Christian 7-3. We're back after this.
All-State rep Oscar Arieta.
I love it.
.831 to go here in the second quarter. The Miners just getting on the board for the first time with a Gavin Beckley field goal. It was a drive that was promising but stalled inside the 10-yard line. So now the Miners settle for 3, and they're set to kick it away to Abilene Christian. With 8.5 to go here in the second quarter, they do the short kick. It's botched, and Brooks West able to fall on it for Abilene Christian. Fortunate that Jordan Brooks West was in the right spot there for the Wildcats. That could have been a disaster.
Well, right spot at the right time. And on a kickoff, when you know a guy's catching it, most of the time you don't necessarily watch him catch the ball when he's behind you. You just kind of assume he's going to do his job, catch the ball, and here I go to block. But great awareness to turn around and be able to recover that fumble. That would have been a disastrous start for him here on this drive.
It's Manziel again at quarterback for Abilene Christian, so he's gotten the majority of the series. He's got time over the middle, and the pass is complete over the middle. And taken down inside the 40-yard line. Big play for Taylon Williams, who's getting an opportunity tonight with Kobe Clark out. And Williams, just like that, a big pickup on the first play of the drive. Takes it into UTEP territory. Touchdown saving tackle by Broderick Harrell.
Well, what a pass. Talk about dropping a dime. And when you're at quarterback, it's not all about how hard I can throw the ball or how far I can throw the ball. It's about those touch passes, getting it over the linebackers, underneath the safety to an open receiver. And that's exactly what he did on the play.
Manziel eludes some pressure, flips it out to Dobbins, and Dobbins is taken down just shy of the 25-yard line in the first down marker.
Stop made by Inyang.
We'll talk about a change of field position on that big play, and to get down and snap the ball quick and get it out to second and short here. They're trying to move the ball quickly and keep UTEP's defense off balance. And we spoke about it earlier in the game when we're looking at UTEP's defense about going from a 3-4 to a more natural 4-3 defense. We're seeing a lot more 3-down linemen in tonight's defensive set.
On 2nd and 2. The ball is dropped, and Manziel doesn't fall on it. It looks like the Miners have it. I thought Peyton Manziel was able to pick that up, but he muffed it. And the Miners, just like that, able to turn the ball over and get it right back. Down at the bottom of the pile with the football was Dennis Barnes. See, there's Manziel, but it's actually the hit on Manziel as he's flying forward that it got jarred loose. Jerome Wilson Jr. popped it free, so really 2 fumbles on the play. There are 2 flags on the field right now, so we'll have to sort that out. But what a break for the Miner defense.
Well, for Barnes, if you watch the replay of how he recovered the fumble,
it's an unsportsmanlike conduct, and it's after the play, and it's against Abilene Christian. So not only will the Miners get the football, but now they're going to get good field position. And actually, they're going to review it.
I'm not sure what happened. It had to have been right around the pile when everyone's trying to fight and claw to see who's got the ball at the end, underneath the pile. So they're going to review this. But what I was saying about this offense,
there's a couple different things you need to review here, because Manziel looked like he recovered the fumble and started to lunge forward. So there's the initial fumble. He lunges forward. It's when is that ball jarred free? Is Manziel's arm down on the ground? Is he down by contact before losing that football?
Right, and what you hate to see, one of the drills that skill positions on offense always do is a fumble recovery drill. And in this situation, you don't want to make a bad play worse. How can I get on the ball covered up and give myself another opportunity at another play? And here for Manziel, he tries to dive forward, loses the ball again, and then number 12 comes in for UTEP, able to recover and get it in a fetal position. That's what coaches always talk about, cover it, get in a fetal position, and protect the ball.
You see the team comparison between UTEP so far this year and Abilene Christian a year ago. The Miners, as you saw in the rushing yards per game, they are struggling to run the football tonight so far with just 22 yards on the ground. But the review does stand. The play stands as called there. So the Miners take over up near midfield, 1st and 10 from their own 45-yard line. So a massive play for the Miner defense, and they're going to take a deep shot on the first play to Cowing, and he's got the ball inside the 20-yard line, down to the 10, into the 5. Jacob Cowing. You see so often teams take that big shot after a turnover. The Miners doing just that and executing.
Well, it's a turnover to a touchdown, and so offensively, the momentum after a turnover for an offense is huge, and what better way to try and catch the defense off balance or off guard than to throw it deep on the first play of the change of possession.
What a difference a couple of plays make. It looked like Abilene Christian was marching after a big play of their own to potentially take a 2-score lead. Instead, the Miner defense gets the turnover, the big play to Cowing, and now it's 1st and goal from the 5-yard line, and it's Fields with an ocean to run through and into the end zone for the touchdown. Josh Fields with his first of the season, and the Miners take a lead for the first time tonight.
Well, talk about changing momentum. We thought that Abilene Christian, with a big play down the middle of the field, the opposite direction, was going to move into scoring position and potentially extend their lead here in the second quarter. A turnover changes everything, and UTEP comes out, has a big play down the sideline. And one thing that I liked about the deep pass is the fact that Hardison kept the ball in play. He struggled the first 2 weeks throwing the ball down the field, down the sideline, and keeping it in the field to play to give his guy a chance. Big play followed up by a big tough run up the middle by Fields.
And that's what the Miners were so good at 2 weeks ago, Trevor, here against Stephen F. Austin, turning those turnovers into points and into touchdowns. The Miners do it here with 6:18 to go in the first half, so some late second quarter magic once again for the Miners, and they're up 10-7 on the Josh Fields touchdown run. Miners take their first lead of the game, 10-7 over Abilene Christian with 6:18 to go here in the second quarter. Here's how it happened. Josh Fields with the touchdown run. This is what he called a big opportunity for him coming into tonight. Quandres Wadley out for the year, and Deion Hankins banged up, suited up, but not playing tonight. So the America's product out of El Paso, Texas with the touchdown run to give the Miners the lead. And now Abilene Christian with a nice return back up across the 30-yard line. That's where they'll take over 1st and 10. But Trevor, it all started with that turnover and then the big shot to Jacob Cowing, 51 yards that set up Fields.
Well, we've realized since the very first game this season that Jacob Cowing is Gavin Hardis's go-to guy. He's the one that he wants to get the ball in his hands. He's very comfortable throwing the entire route tree to Cowing down the field. But like I mentioned before we went to break, Hardison has struggled getting the ball stretched down the field, especially outside the numbers where you have splashdowns for takeoffs and fades, throwing the ball out of bounds. He makes a good, accurate throw down the field for a 51-yard completion.
Wildcats stick with Manziel on this drive and hand it off to Dobbins, who's trying to find some room around the edge, but the Miners snuff that one out. It'll go for a loss. So this is where one of those situations where you think maybe they go back to Samaje Davis. They're playing 2 quarterbacks tonight. You just had the quarterback-running back exchange issue on the turnover on the previous drive that resulted in what the Miners were able to just score on. But stick with Manziel and go to Dobbins.
Well, I don't know how they're going to break it down, like I said earlier in the broadcast, of how they're going to have these quarterbacks come in and play. But for the most part, it seems like Manziel is the go-to quarterback right now.
Throw the screen out to Tyrese White. He makes the catch, but he's hit immediately. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Will bring up 3rd and long.
from Mansell to number
Dennis
24.
Barnes in there on the tackle.
White. How about it, Miner fans? Let's make some noise. It's time for the third down.
Wildcats coming out in a spread offense here, leaving UTEP's defense again with 3 down linemen and 8 defenders in the back end to try and cover this.
Manziel pressured. Steps up, will have to tuck it and run, and he's taken down short of the line to gain, but it's close. He picked up 9, needed 10, and it'll be 4th and 1.
Tackle made by
this is an interesting
42.
call here for Adam Dorrell. Deep inside your own territory at the 39-yard line. But this is a season for Abilene Christian. They've elected to play in the fall, so won't be playing in Southland Conference play in the spring. They've got 8 games so far on the schedule. They're trying to get a couple more if they can. But you kind of have nothing to lose this season. Your players don't lose a year of eligibility, so this is your chance to try a lot of different things, and they're going to go for it. At least they're going to line up to go for it on 4th and 1. And it's a quarterback keeper, and Manziel has the surge across the 40-yard line he needed and picks it up.
Well, going for it on 4th and 1 on your own side of the field is a big call early in the game when you're only down by a field goal. And essentially, the Wildcats have played good football here in the first half, not only moving the ball down the field offensively, they had a few turnovers that have really halted them. However, that's a big call here early in the game to go for it on 4th down in your own side of the field.
That nothing to lose mentality. Adam Dorrell going for it and converting. So the Wildcats get a first down. They fake the toss out. Manziel keeps it instead, but still not much running room. His forward progress will pick up about 2. And it really is, you mentioned a moment ago, Trevor, the 2 turnovers that have made the difference, because otherwise Abilene Christian could be up a couple of scores in this game. They've got 2 turnovers in this game. The Miners just scoring off the last one to take the lead.
Schubert makes a stop for UTEP.
But it's really just been a case of shooting themselves in the foot. And they've been practicing for so many weeks now, but this is their first time in a game, so how much does that maybe play into some of the rustiness?
Well, you never really know what you're going to get, but essentially you have an opportunity to play a game, pull out everything out of the hat and see what you can make happen. So they're still in the game. They're down by 3 points. They have the ball. They're driving. Anything can happen.
Timeout on the field. We'll take one with them. The Miner getting carted off. We're going to try and figure out who that was. It was difficult to see the number, but now 2nd down as we resume play here, and the pass is complete out to White up near the 45-yard line. Jason Van Hook was banged up a little bit earlier, but I don't think that was him, so we'll have to check to see who that was heading off on the cart.
That was a good catch by the running back there. As a quarterback, one of the things that my focus is when I'm throwing to my running back out of the backfield, they're not like a receiver. They're not as nimble. They're a little more tough and bruiser type players, and so you want to put the ball right on their body, give them a little bit better go at catching and getting up the field versus having to pirouette to catch that ball and try and make a play.
3rd and 5. Need to get to the UTEP 49-yard line. The pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. That's Praise Amahuli, his 2nd pass deflected in this game, and it's a big one.
Well, it was a big deflection on that one. They try and go again with the screen, and Praise gets his hands up on this one. Instead of it being a running back out of the backfield trying to slip out, it's a receiver coming from outside in to go underneath the offensive lineman breaking out for the screen. Good play to get his hands up, knock the ball down, and force a punt by the Wildcats.
So Adam Dorrell went for it on 4th and 1 from his own 39-yard line. Not going to go for it here on 4th and 5. And the Miners not applying the kind of pressure they did on the last punt that resulted in a personal foul. There's some contact down there as Justin Garrett fields it just outside of his 10. No flags on the play on that end either. And fortunate that Justin Garrett was able to corral that for the Miners. That was a few legs getting tangled down there.
Well, that was a little iffy for him to catch that ball with so many people right around him and not fair catch it, to give him an easier run at trying to be able to catch the ball. Fortunately for UTEP, it's no turnover, and they have the ball coming out of their own end zone on the 12-yard line.
You know, this is really interesting, Trevor. We did the game 2 weeks ago here against Stephen F. Austin, and it was about this much time left in the game around this spot on the field that Stephen F. Austin had the football, tried to do something with it, and ended up turning it over, and it gave the Miners a lead going into the halftime locker room. We'll see how aggressive the Miners are on this drive. They keep it on the ground on first down, and it's a good pickup from Fields, but it's kind of that in-between with you're so deep in your own territory. The Miners do have all 3 timeouts. Be interesting to see how they approach this drive.
Well, I think that this is a situation in a game where you want to put this pressure on the quarterback, Gavin Hardison. How can he really control this offense in a 2-minute situation when the game is close? I understand it's not the end of the game, but you still have a good opportunity to go score before the half and receive the second half kickoff.
And they fumble the football. Hardison just tries to get back on top of it. They ran the run-pass option, and Hardison was going to keep it, and we'll watch on the replay here where things went wrong. And actually, Hardison dropped it before Fields even ran across his body.
Well, I think what he did as a quarterback, when you have those run-pass options, you're thinking that you're just naturally going to catch the ball from your snap, but you're keeping your eyes up on the defenders and seeing what they're doing. Are they playing the run? Are they playing the pass? Because I have to make a quick decision which way I'm going to go with the ball.
It was almost the broadcaster jinx there.
To say the least.
The loss of about 5 on the play will bring up 3rd and 12, and Abilene Christian takes the timeout now to stop the clock at 1:34. As the Miners not only have 3rd and 12 now, they're going into the win. So Abilene Christian's defense really hoping to get a stop here on 3rd down. They have that timeout if they need to use it, and they would be receiving a punt that would be going into the win for the Miners. So there's a real chance here for Abilene Christian if they can get a stop here to try and get something before the half.
Well, good field position would definitely come. If they're able to stymie this offense right now and force them to kick from the 10-yard line, the wind, I believe, has picked up a little bit more now than what it was earlier. So punting back into this headwind for UTEP is going to be tough. Field position is going to be very key for Abilene Christian in this this down right here, if they can stop them to be able to have an opportunity to try and score right before half.
You can see the fans that are allowed here inside the Sun Bowl. This is the second home game of the season for UTEP. I mentioned earlier, as Peter Pete has got the dance moves. He's in mid-season form already, and with the mask, of course. But the Sun Bowl allowing just over 8,500 fans, 18% capacity in this COVID-19 era that we're in. And the Miners were just short of that number 2 weeks ago and around that number again this week. So 3rd and 12. Some movement, and now the flag. Took a little bit of time there. They're going to call a false start as the indication on the Miners, so pushing back even further.
73.
That's Bobby DeHaro. So that'll now make it 3rd and 17, and now backed up at your own 5-yard line. You really don't want to make any mistakes here if you're UTEP. Hardison standing on his own goal line. We'll give it to Fields. Fields is able to get back up near the 10-yard line, give their punt team a little bit more room here, and Abilene Christian will immediately call timeout to stop the clock at 1:34. So Abilene Christian uses its 3rd and final timeout, but assuming they get some pretty good field position here, which they should, there's more than enough time to do something here. And Trevor, they're, at this point, obviously, I would think they're not just thinking field goal, they're thinking 6.
Well, any way that I can get into scoring position is the first focus offensively. Protect the ball, get yourself into scoring position, and see what happens from there. There's a minute and a half left. I don't know that this punt is going to fly very far with how the wind is blowing right now. So if I'm the Wildcats, I'm thinking, what are our top plays in a situation like this? Being our first game, what's our go-to? What is it going to be? Quick passes? Is it trying to max protect and give the receivers time to develop routes down the field? Are you trying to throw it and get out of bounds after the catch? Fortunately, offensively in college football, for first down conversions, the clock does come to a stop until they get the the ball reset for the next play. So that's a way that you can try and move the chains, slow the clock down, and still play your offense.
Pressure here on Josh Sloan, 5 yards deep in his own end zone, gets one off, but it's high and short. It does take a UTEP bounce up across the 40-yard line. The Miners will let it roll out of bounds at about the 43.
First and 10.
So very
Abilene
good field
Christian.
position for Abilene Christian with a minute 22 to go, no timeouts, down 3.
Well, I think with the way that they have this field position starting on the Miners side of the field, it's time to be aggressive. They've already been able to show they can move the ball down the field. Unfortunately for the Wildcats, turnovers have stopped their progression in the ways that they've been able to try and put up points. But another opportunity with a minute and 22 seconds left here in the first half. If you look at the quarterback, Peyton Mansell, he's ready to make it happen.
They stick with Mansell on this drive. He's got plenty of time and throws, and it's complete. Caught in a kneeling position. That's why you immediately hear that whistle there.
Offensively, you want to see Abilene Christian hustling back up to the line of scrimmage. There's no time to waste and walk around. You need to find yourself, find where you need to be, and be ready to snap the ball.
Brandon Hohenstein with the catch of 7 yards on first down, the senior tight end. Mansell trying to escape the pressure and gets tripped up and goes down just inside the 40-yard line. That'll roll some clock and a loss of a couple on the play.
One of the big negatives that a quarterback will receive on the film room when you're watching the game the next day is not taking a sack or creating a turnover when you're having a 2-minute drive or a 4-minute drive at the end of the game trying to run the clock out. You set yourself back. You don't have enough time to be able to recover from it. They've taken a lot of time here to be able to get set for this third down to try and give themselves a situation to potentially kick a field goal at least.
Losing a ton of time. 20 seconds left when they get that snap off. Mansell on the run, and the pass is, they're going to call it incomplete. He was looking for Williams, but Williams trapped it. Well, you can see easily there that the ball was under the hip. I want to clarify, a moment ago we saw that cart going into the locker room. That was Jason Van Hook, the linebacker, so the Miner defense without Van Hook right now.
Well, that's unfortunate. That's one of the leaders of this defense, one of the vocal guys, one of the very physical guys for this Miner defense. And to see one of your leaders get carted off the field, it didn't look like it was a major injury, but obviously something that's going to hold him out probably for the remainder of the game. You hope that it's something he's able to recover from and be able to come back next week and hopefully help his team.
Interesting here, the Wildcats have the punter out, Burke, and he does punt it away, and they'll try and down it inside the 10. A bounce in favor of UTEP, but down right around the 10-yard line with 1 second left in the half.
What do you think? They call a Hail Mary? Yeah, right.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say into the wind, 90 yards.
Go for it.
You know what? It's 2020. Anything could happen.
Anything is possible.
It's been a strange college football season, to say the least, so far. But if I had to take a wild guess, Hardison will be taking this snap and taking a knee.
Yep.
You can see Justin Garrett already standing back at the goal line as the ultimate safety valve. And if you're UTEP, I think you have to feel pretty fortunate to have the 3-point lead after the way that first half went. Benefiting from the turnovers, of course, including the last one that they were able to cash in on with the Josh Fields touchdown. So that'll be it for the first half. Miners will take a 10-7 lead into the halftime break and will get the ball to start the second half. Halftime here in El Paso, Texas, with the Miners leading Abilene Christian 10-7, although the way the first half went, it looked like Abilene Christian was going to jump out to the early lead. Eric Elkin alongside the former UTEP quarterback Trevor Vitito. Let's take a look at how we got here so far. It was Abilene Christian right out of the gate that got off to a hot start. They were playing both quarterbacks, started with Peyton Mansell. Got a couple of big plays in that first drive, Trevor.
Well, they had a few big plays. They were able to do this quick pitch around the outside that you see here. That seemed to be their go-to play. But like you see, that was one of the big turnovers in the first half that I thought actually should have been reviewed possibly.
The Miners unable to capitalize on the first turnover of the game. Their offense was really sluggish in that first quarter in particular. Only rushed it for -2 yards. Didn't do much with it. And then it was back to Abilene Christian, and they started moving the football deep down into UTEP territory, capped off by Jeremiah Dobbins, the true freshman. Looked like he was stopped, but just surged his way across the goal line. That's the first score of the game, and Abilene's only score so far of this game to take a 7-0 lead. But then the UTEP defense really started to stiffen up a little bit.
Well, their defense really picked up the aggression, and I think one thing that they figured out, the running style of Abilene Christian so far in this first half of the game has been run it to the left behind their two seniors on the offensive line, and UTEP's defense has picked up on that and has been able to shut it down later in the first half.
And Abilene Christian also able to convert on a couple of third down and short, and also a couple of fourth down conversions in that first half. They were running it heavily with Tyrese White and Jeremiah Dobbins. This was another one. This was the shovel pass to L.J. McConnell, but this is another instance of that UTEP defense really containing the Miners, able to finally get on the board with a Gavin Beckley field goal from 27 yards out. That made it 7-3, with UTEP getting on the board there in that second quarter. But then it was back to Mansell, and eventually the turnovers were really what hurt Abilene Christian. Mansell would fumble, and UTEP would recover. The very next play, a deep shot to Jacob Cowing, and then on the next play after that, Josh Fields scored to give UTEP its first lead of the game, and that's where we stand now at 10-7. Again, Eric Elkin alongside Trevor Vitito here at the Sun Bowl. Look at some of the stats from the first half. The stats don't necessarily tell it all, because Abilene Christian actually leading with total yards 184 to 128, including a good balance of run-pass for Abilene Christian. Meanwhile, for UTEP, it was a slugfest, as I mentioned, trying to run the ball. Only -2 yards in that first quarter. They were able to make up for it a little bit in the second quarter, just 28 yards. But the key stat there, Trevor, at the bottom of the screen, the 2 turnovers to none.
Well, there's only 2 turnovers if you look there on the screen, but you got to consider there was also a turnover on downs at one point in the game. So essentially that's 3 turnovers by the Wildcats in the first half. And to be leading in these categories in the first half, you would expect that they would have the lead going in at halftime. But there's 3 plays in a football game that I always say can sway the game one way or another, whether it be turnovers or big plays, whatever it may be. The turnovers in the first half have definitely given UTEP the upper side of this game so far.
And it was the second turnover, the fumble by Mansell after the botched handoff, that led to points for UTEP and the lead. 10-7, we're at halftime, second half coming up. Back at the Sun Bowl, UTEP leading at halftime 10-7, couple of minutes away from the start of the second half, where the Miners will get the football to start. Eric Elkin alongside Trevor Vitito, former UTEP quarterback, stand out and great. Any other superlatives we should throw in there, Trevor?
Oh, I'm just, young and handsome is all the only thing we left out there.
There we go. A smattering of UTEP fans here at the Sun Bowl, allowing 18% capacity at the games this year. And as we take a look at the quarterback comparison that we showed you off the top of the broadcasts, 3 of them in total, because Abilene Christian is playing 2, although what we've seen so far is a majority of the Iowa transfer, Peyton Mansell, in the middle of your screen for Abilene Christian. 7 of 12 for 88 yards in that first half, but also had that key fumble on the running back exchange there with Dobbins that led to UTEP's lone touchdown of the half. Been pretty quiet for Samaje Davis. A little surprising not to see them use him in other ways. But if you look at Gavin Hardison, Trevor, 4 of 12, 100 yards. He did hit the big one to Jacob Cowing, excuse me. But all in all, how do you evaluate Gavin Hardison's first half?
Well, I think he's played a decent first half here tonight, and if you look at it, 50 of the 100 yards came on one big throw down the field. And so if I were to pick a word, to describe his first half, is just inefficient. He's been able to, get the big play after the turnover, which definitely helped him put points up on the board, but he's been inaccurate when you look at some of the easy throws he should have been able to complete, and instead throws it down at their feet.
Getting some words of encouragement from Brandon Jones, who's a graduate assistant, played at quarterback here for the Miners last year, as well as Mike Canales, third-year offensive coordinator for the Miners. Just a couple of minutes away from the start of the second half here. All in all, the Miners, Trevor, would you say fortunate to be up 10-7 given the way that Abilene Christian moved the football, save for those 2 turnovers?
Well, turnovers will change the outcome of a game, and although Abilene Christian has really controlled the way that they've been able to move the ball up and down the field, they gave up on giving or having an opportunity to field goal and ran a fake field goal and had a turnover on the one where I believe that they could have possibly kicked it with the wind at their back. But 2 turnovers when they were also in scoring position are big ones that are going to really hurt your team when you're in scoring possession and don't get the points.
Looking ahead for both these teams, Abilene Christian, again, just playing its first game of the season. UTEP, one of just 9 teams in all of college football to schedule 12 games. This is the 3rd straight week the Miners are playing a team playing their opener, so a very unique set of circumstances there. The Wildcats are really excited about their next trip. They head to West Point to take on Army. Meanwhile, you see another team there familiar on the schedule to UTEP. They'll travel to Stephen F. Austin, actually play them in a neutral site game, so they'll be playing the Lumberjacks in a couple of weeks. Meanwhile, for the Miners, they head for a pair of road games after this. They've got Louisiana Monroe in a bye week, and then Louisiana Tech before back here in almost a month. They'll go a whole month without returning to the Sun Bowl to take on Southern Miss, and that's when you get into the meat of Conference USA's schedule, one of the few conferences that has been able to really play uninterrupted seasons. UTEP, one of just a few teams in all of college football to do so.
Well, not only are they even having the ability to play their season, but to be able to play a full scheduled season and not just a portion of it. And I think just being appreciative as a football player of a team that has that opportunity in the circumstances that we've been facing already in 2020, you've got to be thankful and you've got to be excited each and every week that you show up that you have the ability to play.
And it's so hard even to look ahead to that schedule because anything can change at any moment. You could be doing everything right as a program, but if the opponent all of a sudden has an outbreak with COVID, we've seen that already happen on several occasions across all of college football with games being postponed. UTEP so far 3 for 3 in being able to play games that were scheduled, and tip of the cap to Athletic Director Jim Center, able to fill that schedule at last minute. Remember, they were supposed to open the season here at the Sun Bowl against Texas Tech, but then the Big 12 went down to just 1 non-conference game, so they lost that. New Mexico State decided to postpone their season, so the Miners lost a handful of games on their schedule, but were able to fill it out, and now we are set to start the second half of play, and the Miners will get the football first. Abilene Christian kicking with the wind into the end zone, so it'll be a touchback, and the Miners will try and get the offense going 1st and 10 from its own 25-yard line to start the second half.
Well, what I'd like to see out of UTEP here on this drive is to come out with some type of energy and sense of establishment on the field. Find what worked for you in the first half. What adjustments did you need to make offensively to have a good flowing offense here in the second half? And one thing that worked for them there on their scoring drive was the big play, but they were able to snap the ball quickly and get the ball moving.
Wind feels like it's picked up a little bit since the end of that first half, so the Miners going into it and perhaps a little breezier than it was before the break. First play out of the gate is a pass to the outside to Justin Garrett, who's taken down. And again, if you're just joining us, Garrett usually wears number 17. For the rest of the season, he'll be wearing number 2, and you can see the name on the back. Laufenberg is for the late Luke Laufenberg, former UTEP teammate who died of cancer. And the Miners are honoring him. Quadres Wadley, the starting running back, was wearing number 2 to honor him this season, but he was officially ruled out for the year because of an injury this past week. So Justin Garrett going to Dana Dimmel saying, I want to wear number 2, and he's also wearing Laufenberg on the back of his jersey for the rest of the season, save for that October 17th date where he'll wear 17 once again to honor his late sister, which is why he wears number 17. get our first look at Josh Fields here in the second half. 8 carries for 28 yards in that first half, but did have the lone touchdown for the Miners. And it was really a slow start for Fields, but he started to find something in that drive that they eventually punched something in the drive right before that as well.
I believe the first positive run that he had in the game was a 5-yard touchdown run. And so for me, if I'm in the position and I haven't had the game going the way that I expected it to or that I wanted it to turn out, and I get 1 carry and I get a touchdown, that can totally change my mindset moving forward in the game.
Hardison with a lot of time on 3rd and 5, dumps it down to Fields, but he won't have enough, only picks up about 1. So it looks like it'll be 3 and out for the Miners.
That's a good job by Hardison to make his read on one side of the field. One thing you don't like to see out of a quarterback is to scan all the way back to the opposite side of the field and throw it into the flats. But there was no one there directly on field. He drops the ball down, and Abilene was ready for that one there. Tackle him down, force a punt to start the second half. A good start for this defensive team.
Not as much for the UTEP offense, really hoping to get something going there. But instead, punting it away, Sloan just gets it off. This is a good one into the wind. End over end, fielded down at the 22-yard line by the return man, Jordan Brooks-West. So a good punt into the wind for UTEP. And we'll see if the Miner defense can pick up where it left off, because after the slow start in that first quarter, they really started to make some plays there in that second quarter.
Well, the first halftime adjustments for the Wildcats of this season offensively, what did they talk about inside the locker room at halftime to find a way to be efficient in this second half? Is it to continue running the ball on the outside to the left side of the field, or throw your quick screens to your wide receivers?
Wildcats stick with Manziel at quarterback to start this half and stick it on the ground into the chest of Tyrese White. So Coach Adam Dorrell really trying to see what he's got in Peyton Manziel, the junior transfer out of Iowa. Did not play last year for the Hawkeyes, but played in 5 games sparingly, 5 of 8 for 83 yards. Did have a rushing touchdown in 2018 as a Hawkeye, but elected to transfer here to Abilene Christian as he throws on the run, complete to his receiver, Brooks-West, on the outside, enough for a first down as 3 Miners then come in to take him down. But Manziel wanted to transfer back to Texas, a little closer to home. He's from Belton, Texas. Married actually already to the Baylor pitcher, softball pitcher, Sydney. And so the two already married and each playing Division I sports.
It's pretty exciting to be able to move back home closer to your significant other, if you will, and be able to support each other from closer distances than being so far away.
They both went to Belton High School, where Manziel led the team to state playoffs his junior and senior year at 33 touchdown passes as a senior, and now really getting his first crack at significant playing time at the collegiate level.
What's the nice thing about college sports is you have the ability, if you're at one program and you're not necessarily getting the playing time or getting the look that you necessarily want to, or there's just all different types of situations for players and then the programs that they end up, that they have the ability to move to another program and be able to continue their career. And fortunately this year, 2020, with the COVID and everything, players have had a lot more to decide on that won't necessarily affect them long term.
And also not losing a year of eligibility, which is a big deal too. Can you imagine playing a, maybe not quite a full season in the case of Abilene Christian? Yeah, in the case of Abilene Christian, so far it's 8 games. Coach Dorrell did mention during the week that they are still trying to schedule a couple more, maybe get up to 10 games, but as you know, everything is rapidly changing these days. So whether it's 8 games, 10 games, 6 games, whatever it ends up being, that's all that experience for this Abilene Christian team. Free of charge, essentially.
Oh, definitely.
So they threw a flag for a false start, so instead of 2nd and 5, it goes back to 2nd and 10. Manziel with some time, now being flushed out, throws on the run over the top, and he's got his receiver down inside the 30-yard line. It's the tight end, Remington Lutz. He just put the perfect touch on that to Lutz. There was a UTEP defender in the area, but Manziel just dropped that in beautifully.
Well, that's been 2 times here just on this drive alone that Peyton Manziel has been able to see the defensive pressure coming in his face, being able to escape the pocket and find a receiver down the field. The first one was a comeback route down the sideline to give them a first down. Here was another big play, tossing it right over the defender, right on the sideline to his tight end for a nice first down conversion.
Pickup of 35 puts Manziel over 100 yards passing on the night. And they go back to the ground game to White, not much there.
Now what Abilene seems to have made an adjustment on just in their few plays they've done here in the second half is they're not directly going to the quick pitch outside around the left-hand side. They're doing like a fake pitch now and a hand it off to the running back underneath. A little different shake-up look for what they're doing offensively.
It's Dobbins in there in the backfield for White now. And they throw it to the flat to Dobbins. Dobbins has been a tough man to tackle tonight and falls forward across the 20. He'll have enough for the first down. It'll be 1st and 10 now in the red zone for the Wildcats.
Well, you said it, a hard guy to tackle tonight. We've seen him breaking tackles and carrying guys on his back into the end zone tonight. And so this guy isn't going down easy. Get the ball in his hands, let him make a guy miss, and it seems to work out in the Wildcats' favor that he's been able to make a play every time he touches the ball.
Right back to Dobbins. And he's got 4 yards before he's touched up across the 15, down to the 14, so pickup of 6.
Well, a good look to this drive for the Wildcats so far coming out here in the second half. Mixing it up, going in their bag, seeing what they want to do. Fake toss, handoff inside, play action passes, and a few sprint outs that Manziel's been able to make some nice completions down the field. He's controlling this offense, and he looks very poised and under composure out there on the field.
Dobbins with the lone touchdown for Abilene Christian today. Now the leading rusher on the night, 8 carries for 35 yards, averaging 4.5 a pop. Keep it on the ground. This time only a gain of about 1 or 2, so it'll bring up a big third down here for the Miner defense.
I think this is a big third down on both sides of the ball. Being the first trying time here in the second half. Abilene Christian comes out, forces a quick 3 and out by UTEP to get their offense the ball, and they've marched right down the field into scoring position in the red zone. A 3rd and 4, your playbook is wide open. A nice run, a quick pass, even a screen, but we'll see what they lean towards.
Play clock down to 3. They pitch it out to White. And White is going to come up short of the first down marker. So once again, decision time for Adam Dorrell, who went for it on his own 39-yard line back in the first half on a 4th and 1. But down 3 and 4th and 3, he sends out the kicking unit.
Well, I think it's a safe play. You take the points and give yourself a chance. Tie this game up. This is a success coming out and to start the second half. Stop them on defense, come out, put some points up on offense. Now the game is a clean slate.
Last time they had the field goal unit out, they faked it. Blair Zepeda from 29 yards, and the kick is good to tie the game at 10 apiece. So Blair Zepeda, 12 of 19 a year ago, starts off 2020 1 for 1 with the 29-yard field goal, and we're tied at 10 with 6:58 to go in the third quarter. Back right after this. Ten plays, 66 yards in about 6 minutes of play for Abilene Christian results in a 29-yard field goal. And the Wildcats tie this game up on the leg of Blair Zepeda, who has the ball on the tee, ready to kick it back away to the Miners, who weren't able to do anything with their opening drive of the second half. 3 and out. Trevor, we were just talking during the break. 4 3 and outs on 8 drives for UTEP so far offensively.
Well, you hate to see that. You were hoping that you'd have a little more efficient game coming back from playing the Longhorns last week and be able to settle in and call the plays that you're comfortable calling, that your offense runs well, and be able to execute those plays. And we just haven't seen that here tonight. Is it the execution of the plays by the offense, or is it Abilene Christian stepping up and playing really tough-nosed defense and stopping this offense.
Just 134 yards of offense so far for this Miner offense, and we're midway through the third quarter. Only 26 yards rushing on the ground. You see Josh Fields going out there, number 21. If you're just joining us, a big storyline for the Miners. They've been without tonight Deion Hankins, the redshirt freshman out of Parkland High School here in El Paso, who had a monster game week 1 against Stephen F. Austin. Got injured during the week and was suited up, but Dana Dimmel telling me yesterday he would only go if he was 100%. Taking a deep shot in the air, and they got Garrett.
Well, what a play to start this drive. They go with a nice, easy rollout, and all they do is Justin Garrett has an outside release on this cornerback, takes off sprinting as fast as he can, and nothing but a perfect pass from Hardison on the completion down the sideline. That's 2 plays tonight down the same sideline. He's been very accurate. Nice big play to start the drive.
A shot of adrenaline for the UTEP offense, and just like that, they're at the Abilene Christian 39-yard line. Pickup of 36 yards on the play. And they go back to the ground now to Fields. And he's stuffed at the line. Got enough for maybe a half a yard.
UTEP's number 21, Josh Fields, carries the ball.
One big play to Jacob Cowing in the first half. A 51-yard catch. That time to Justin Garrett for 36. So Gavin Hardison's thrown for 144 yards, but 87 of those have come on 2 passes.
Well, I'm not a stats guy, but when I was a quarterback, the yards add up no matter how they come.
That's right.
So I'll take them as they go.
Well, and the big play has flipped the field for UTEP. Hardison flushed to the outside. There's a flag on the play as Hardison scrambles out of bounds, and it's in the backfield in the vicinity of holding. Jack Gibbons, number 47, they're already pointing in the direction of the Miners.
Well, it was a good effort to get out of the pocket and try and extend the play. You see him running out, sprinting out, keeping his eyes down the field. A hands to the face on the offensive lineman, just trying to do his job. And anytime as an offensive lineman, when your quarterback is extending the play, that's extending the lifetime of the block that you have to try and hold to protect your quarterback. Some of those things can happen, and it's not always your fault, but you want to try and avoid those at all costs. But good effort by Hardison to get out of the pocket, try and create a play. Just unfortunate for the penalty to get thrown.
Personal fouls on Zuri Henry, the right tackle, the junior out of Wiley, Texas. And now that pushes the Miners all the way back inside their own territory at the 47-yard line. And because it wasn't a holding penalty, it was the personal foul after the play, it's now 2nd down. They did have it at 3rd down as they throw it to Devon Cooper over the middle. So they're able to get a chunk of it back. They initially had the markers still at 3rd down, so I thought maybe for a second it was after the play, but it was during the play. So now it'll be 3rd down. Devon Cooper is able to pick up a small chunk, but it's still going to be 3rd and long.
Well, they tried to create a little play right here where they're going 3 wide receivers to one side of the field, and the single lone receiver, they run a drag all the way across the field, drop it down to him, and trying to have the 3 receivers on the opposite side of the field give him some blocking to be able to pick up as many yards as they can. But it looks like the ball is getting brought back for yet another penalty. Not sure what was called.
I don't even see a flag on the field anywhere.
This is one thing that you hate as an offense when you have a big player, you're moving down the field, seems to have stopped them, their momentum when a penalty comes up, and now they're looking at a 2nd and super long. I think the last play was 3rd down, and we're back to 2nd down.
I think maybe there was a whistle, and remember, in the era of COVID now, they're electronic whistles, and they're difficult to hear, so that whole play played out as they throw it over the middle. Hardison connects with Cowing, and that is actually beneficial to UTEP because they gain a lot more on that play than they did on the previous second play that didn't actually exist.
Well, a great job by the offensive line here to give Hardison enough time to make his reads and see what the defensive backs are doing. He steps up in the pocket and makes a good, accurate throw to Cowing, who's able to pick up a chunk of those yards on 2nd down and at least give them a manageable 3rd and short.
Yeah, it was 2nd and 24, and now it's 3rd and 5. So a pickup of 19 on the play. Hardison has time, looks to the outside, and it's caught by Cowing, but it's just shy of the 1st down marker. decision time for Dana Dimmel. They're going into the wind, too. Keep that in mind. This would be a long field goal into the wind, but it's going to be 4th and about a yard.
Well, this is one of the situations where Coach Dimmel likes to line up really quick and do a quarterback sneak or hand it off to your running back really quick. You can see the guys shuffling in and out of the field. They need to get these guys off the field before they break the huddle, or that can be a penalty.
And we saw them before do it in week 1 with Calvin Brownholtz, but they're going to stick with Hardison under center. He doesn't get an initial surge, but then pushes his way forward, and it looks like he has enough.
Well, they needed about a foot to get there, it looks like, maybe 2 feet, and I think you got 2 feet and maybe an inch.
And they're fortunate to do so. Good second effort there from Hardison because he was pushed back at first. He had nowhere to go.
Well, to be able to recover and have an opportunity at picking up a first down in this drive when the hands to the face penalty set them back so far, you've got to be thankful for where you're at now. And picking up the first down, they still have the ball, working their way down into the end zone.
Hardison's helmet fell off on the play, so by rule he has to sit out for one play. So Calvin Brownholtz, who I mentioned just a moment ago, will have to go in now on first down. He did get some good playing time in mop-up duty against Texas a week ago. Also took a few snaps in the opener. So we'll see how open the playbook is for Brownholtz on first down, or if they just give it to Fields. And they stick with Fields, who spins off the first tackle and is up near the 25-yard line. So a good gain on first down of about 4.
And Brownholtz trots off the field, and back on comes Hardison.
To the 25-yard line. Second down and 6.
It worked out for UTEP that it wasn't too consequential of a play, but sometimes every once in a while with that helmet rule, when the helmet falls off and you have to sit out a play, you could end up losing your quarterback on a critical play. Had that happen on third down, you have a 4th and 1 with a cold quarterback coming in.
That is very true.
But it works out for the Miners. Now have 2nd and 6. Back to the ground. This time it's Ronald Awad. And Awad off the left side. Another good gain. And it'll be make a 3rd and short, excuse me. That's the first carry of the night for Ronald Awad. It's been almost exclusively Josh Fields. We thought we'd see a little more of Ronald Awad and Willie Eldridge, but they've stuck mostly with Fields tonight, with Hankins out. It's 3rd and 2. The Miners need to get to the 19. Hardison pulls it, quick pass out to Cowing, trying to lunge his way forward, and he does on that second effort. He was tangled up just on the other side of the 20, but credit Cowing with that 2nd and 3rd effort to reach that ball up across the 20, and it looks like they're going to spot it right at the first down marker, so this is going to be very close. They may have to bring the sticks out.
Well, that wasn't as easy as I think Hardison maybe have thought the play was going to be. He had a run-pass option, and they had 2 defenders outside to be able to cover a wide receiver screen in that situation. I think whether you hand the ball off or throw it, it's a good decision. In that situation, 2-on-2 on the outside, hand it to your running back on the inside and see if you can stuff it for a first down. Nonetheless, 1st and 10 inside the red zone for the Miners.
Hardison on the keeper. And not much room for Hardison. And believe it or not, that was the first 3rd down conversion of the night for UTEP's offense. Just 1 of 8.
Well, better late than never.
That's right. They had a 4th down conversion before they had a 3rd down conversion.
That's pretty good.
And now it's a little more methodical for UTEP. This has been a fast-moving 3rd quarter, already down under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. Just the 3rd drive so far. Hardison again on the keeper, thinks about throwing it, does into the end zone, but it's incomplete. He was looking for Justin Garrett, who's looking for a flag, but none coming.
Well, they're calling a flag because the defender had his hands all over the receiver on this play, and with the ball going directly to that receiver, you would think a pass interference flag is going to get thrown, and especially down here inside the red zone, that's a big play considering that's an automatic first down. Instead now the Miners are facing 3rd and 9.
Third and 9. Pressure coming. And the pass incomplete over the middle. He was looking for Walter Don. And now a flag comes late. Don had his hands up in the air saying, "Where's my flag?" Justin Garrett didn't get it a play ago, but Walter Don Jr. gets it here.
Well, that clearly was holding by the defender on this play. The receiver Cowing is running across the middle of the field, and he's got a guy draped all over his back. That's definitely one that's not going to go missed by this referee group out here tonight, and they don't miss it. And automatic first down. I was just speaking of this 2 plays ago before it happens, and an automatic first down should be coming here for the Miners.
Still waiting for the official call from the head referee, Anthony Perez. You talk about a critical penalty. Steven, Abilene Christian had him stopped, but the holding penalty gives them the automatic first down, and now it'll be 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line.
Well, it makes it tough on your defense, and you've done your job. The Miners have worked their way down into scoring position, but to be able to come up stout and be able to stop them on 3rd down, let alone have a penalty force you to stay out on the field longer, not only does it hurt your mindset, I guess, if you will, but it's just a little energy bump, knowing that, I thought I was getting off the play or getting off the field this play. Now we've got another round down here close to the goal line.
Ball's at the 9. 1st and goal. Josh Fields has the lone touchdown of the game. It's Calvin Brownholtz in there at quarterback on the keeper. We've seen that a couple of times, especially in week 1 with the Miners, where they put Calvin Brownholtz in there a couple of times for that QB keeper. He got maybe a yard or 2, but it's Hardison now back in.
There's 20 seconds left here until the end of the quarter. The offensive huddle is looking over towards the sideline. It looks like they're just going to let it count down, wind down, and move on into the 4th quarter. That was a quick, fast-paced 3rd quarter. It's like the clock almost didn't stop. Got out here. We saw 3 points get put up, tie the game up here, coming to the end of the 3rd quarter.
Just an Abilene Christian field goal in this 3rd quarter to tie the game at 10, but the Miners threatening 2nd and goal when we come back to start the 4th quarter right after this.
Listen up. Feed that hunger with serious.
2nd and goal for the Miners as we get set to start the 4th quarter. Eric Elkin alongside former UTEP quarterback Trevor Vitito. And we're in a tie game, 10-10, between UTEP and Abilene Christian. They're going to reset the play clock. I was about to say 6 seconds left on the play clock, but they just reset it to 25.
Well, the start of the 4th quarter, you've had the time in between the 3rd and 4th to be able to dial up your best play down here in the goal line.
Quick pass out to Cowing. Cowing across the 5 and taken down at about the 3-yard line, 4-yard line. May have slipped on the play.
We'll try and get the ball into one of your big playmakers on the offensive side, and I like what they're trying to do, get him moving before the snap of the ball to get his momentum going, throwing the ball and try and make a play. Abilene Christian was ready for that, and for them defensively to bull up right here and force another field goal like they did early on in this football game would be really huge for this ball club.
Now 3rd and goal. Miners with just 1 3rd down conversion tonight, but it was on this drive. Also had a 4th down conversion on this drive. And before the snap, there's a timeout taken, and it's taken by UTEP. And we'll take a quick timeout with them with 3rd and goal coming back right after this. That football. Third and goal for the Miners. Tie game 10-10 between UTEP and Abilene Christian. They'll keep it on the ground, and Awatt is in for the touchdown.
Well, a good play call. They line up coming out of the timeout. They line up, see what the defense lines up in, and they look back to the sideline to give Coach Canales the little bit of time to make the decision what play call he wants. He decides that giving the ball to Big Awatt down on the goal line, trucking his way into the end zone, was the best way for the Miners to finish out the drive.
He missed all of last year with an injury, started this season low on the depth chart, but because of a couple of injuries, getting an opportunity on third and goal and punches it in from 4 yards out, and the Miners have regained the lead as Beckley tacks on the extra point, and UTEP leads 17-10 with 14-12 to go here in the fourth quarter, and we'll take a timeout as Abilene Christian tries to answer in for a thrilling fourth quarter here from the Sun Bowl. .12 to go here in the game, and UTEP regaining the lead 17-10 on a 4-yard touchdown run from Ronald Awatt. It was on third and goal, and the Miners finishing off the drive. And now up 17-10, they'll kick it back away to Abilene Christian. Gavin Beckley has it teed off. He's got the wind at his back and kicks it through the end zone. It'll be a touchback.
Well, if I'm the Miners, I'm going to think the fact that a penalty was called on the holding on the third down at the other end of the field before the change of the quarter, which gave UTEP another opportunity at a first and goal inside the 10-yard line. And even then, the Wildcats bowed up and almost stopped them from getting in. Big run by Awatt to bust his way through the line, get in for a touchdown for the Miners, and the Wildcats back out on the field to try and answer.
That drive was 13 plays, 75 yards in 7:46, and the Miners also had 2 third-down conversions and a fourth-down conversion. They didn't have any third or fourth-down conversions prior to that drive, yet still lead it 17-10 as it's back in the hands of the Wildcats, and Jordan Brooks-West on the end around. Picks up a couple on the play.
Well, that one even threw me off. I thought the quarterback kept it on this one to run around the end. A good fake on that one by the quarterback after handing it off.
The quarterback still being Peyton Mansell. We really expected to see quite a mix-up between Peyton Mansell and Samaje Davis, but Davis really hasn't seen much time, just attempted 2 passes. It's been mostly Mansell, the transfer out of Iowa, who's on the run and throws incomplete. He was looking for Williams on that pass to the outside, who did have a big catch back in the first half. Williams, the leading receiver, 2 catches for 77 yards, including the 49-yarder, but that one out of the reach. And now it brings up third down, and how big, Trevor, would it be for the Miner defense to, on the heels of that go-ahead touchdown, back it up with a 3-and-out?
Well, it would definitely be huge, to say the least, considering the defense has done their job tonight. They've created a few turnovers, but the Wildcats haven't helped themselves in situations where they can take advantage and possibly.
Mansell gets hit under pressure, but gets the pass off, and it's dropped. It was in the hands of Williams. It was behind him, but unable to come down with it, and boy, did Mansell pay the price for delivering that pass.
Well, it was a great effort to stand in there and make a good, accurate throw right in between 2 defenders. And the receiver really could have had that catch. It hit him right in his chest, and he's going down. The defenders had to try and avoid hitting him, because nowadays those types of hit on receivers as a defenseless receiver, that's a penalty and another automatic first down. So great play by the UTEP defense to be there and create enough confusion for the receiver to drop the pass.
Wildcats without their leading returning receiver, Kobe Clark, who set a single-season school record with 87 catches in 12 games last year, as the punt return from Garrett goes nowhere. And they're feeling it right now with no Kobe Clark. He had surgery earlier this week and did not make the trip. Miners get the ball back after the 3-and-out, up 17-10. We'll try and put some cushion on that lead when we come back. Miners back on offense with 13:23 to go in the game. UTEP just having a massive drive to go ahead 17-10 on the last drive. See how they can respond after their defense gets a 3 and out. They went 75 yards in 13 plays, over 746 on the go-ahead touchdown drive, capped off by Ronald Awad, his first career rushing touchdown. Hardison on the keeper, cuts it back inside up to the 30. Miners would also love to work a little bit of clock on this drive, especially if they can finish it with points and make it a 2-possession game.
Well, after coming out here in the second half and blowing through the third quarter and how fast we were able to get through that, UTEP was able to complete a long touchdown drive, take the lead, and take over the momentum of this game. And what I would like to see out of this football team is how you're going to follow up that long drive with your next drive coming back out. Are you going to be able to capitalize and build off of what you just did the last drive, or are you just going to fall back and give the ball back to Abilene?
Well, they're going to go to the air, and they're going to take the deep shot to Garrett, trying to come back to the ball, and there's the flag. That's experience from a receiver working your way back into the defender. He was being covered by Ryan Stapp, who led this Abilene Christian team a year ago with 3 interceptions on the season, but Garrett worked his way back into contact.
Well, Stapp had really good coverage on the play, but he never got his eyes back to the quarterback or trying to find the ball. And anytime you have your back to the quarterback and the ball's coming into the receiver you're covering, especially if there's any kind of contact, that's an easy call for any referee, no matter what conference you're playing in.
And Trevor, it's been the big play that has really fueled UTEP. You mentioned it to me a moment ago during the break. Jacob Cowing with a 51-yard catch in the first half. Justin Garrett with a 36-yard catch in the third quarter that set up the touchdown drive. That one was actually Cowing that he was going to.
Well, big plays can really spark a lot of energy on both sides of the ball for any football club. And for UTEP, it's been the big pass plays down the field that we haven't seen the past few games for UTEP. Being able to keep the ball in play and at least give his receiver an opportunity to catch the ball, that's all you can ask for by your quarterback.
They go play action. Hardison facing some pressure, gets the pass off to the tight end, Tupou, and Tupou makes the catch. Gain of a couple.
Well, Abilene Christian was lucky there that Hardison was really flustered and trying to get the ball out of his hands quick, because he had a tight end release right up the field, and not one defender for the Wildcats saw him, and he was running scotch wide open down the field. Hardison missed it, but was still able to complete the ball, set him up for short and medium.
It's a gain of 4, and the Miners just shy of midfield, letting the play clock go down as every precious second ticks away with that 7-point lead. Here's Awad around the edge and just gets tripped up. If he's able to plant that right foot into the ground and get down the sideline, he may still be running.
Well, from the 3 carries that I've seen in this game, Awad seems to be a freight train running. Once he gets his momentum going one way, he's following that direction, and there's nothing that's going to throw him off that pace. So find a little balance, be able to stick that foot in the ground, get north. That could be a big play there.
He was just shy of the first down as well, so 3rd and 1. They need to get to the 45-yard line. See if they go right back to Awad.
Well, the Wildcats are really stacking the box a little bit more here now. I think here, with the time counting down here in the fourth quarter, try and stop the running game for UTEP.
They do go back to Awad. He gets the 45 and more. Pushes it up near the 42-yard line, but most importantly for UTEP, it moves the chains and will take more time off the clock once they set the chains. Josh Fields will spell Awad once again. So now, with Hankins out, you're starting to see a little bit of that 2-back set here between Fields and Awad spelling each other, and it's keeping both of them fresh, it looks like, here late in the game.
Well, it's nice that when you look at this football team that they have the depth that they do at the position to still be having a good offensive flow going, getting each of these guys the ball in their hands. They each bring something different to the table that they can exploit, and they're using it to the best of their ability.
The depth chart at the beginning of the season had 3 running backs, as the pass to the outside is caught by Cowing. It was Wadley, Hankins, or Fields. Not on that trio was Awat, but with Wadley out for the year, Hankins out tonight, it's come down to Fields and Awat.
Well, that was a good play by the cornerback there, Tristan Anderson. If you watch his technique, they lined up in what looked like a cover two. He let his outside receiver run down the sideline. He comes off on the inside out route and makes a good open field tackle on Cowing on the play.
Miners taking the play clock down under 10 just about every snap now, as you'd expect. Hardison throws off the back foot, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Walter Don. You mentioned that back in week 1 when we did the game against Stephen F. Austin, Trevor. One thing that you didn't like that you were seeing a lot out of Hardison were those throws off the back foot. We just saw it there.
Well, it's a lot that I talk about in the balance of a quarterback. If you're not balanced or you don't have your momentum going towards your target, a lot of times you're going to be inaccurate as a passer. There's a lot of guys that have the arm strength to make all of the throws on the field regardless of the position of their feet. But a lot of times the accuracy and the consistency at the quarterback position is going to come when you have your feet underneath you, you have your weight transfer going towards your target. Get the ball up, get it out, throw it with confidence.
Hardison did just that there on 3rd down, but it's going to be shy of the 1st down. He does connect with Don Jr. this time, but it looks like he'll be about a half a yard short, which makes for another interesting decision here for Dana Dimmel. You're just on the edge of field goal range, which could make it a 2-score game. It would be about a 50-51 yarder from here. You've got the wind at your back, but it's less than a yard.
Less than a yard. I think the good old quarterback sneak, baby, coming out. They're already lined up. They're ready. Like if it's the goal line, all 3 of the guys behind the quarterback are lined up to just shove the pile forward as soon as the snap of the ball.
Adam Dorrell, the head coach for Abilene Christian, quickly calls a timeout before the snap. The Miners converted on 4th down, which they eventually scored on that drive the last time around to take the lead. See if they can do it again here, but we'll take the timeout with them first. UTEP leading 17-10, 4th and less than 1 coming up next. 4th and 1 coming up here for the Miners, up 17-10 deep inside Abilene Christian territory. Another quarterback keeper for Hardison. Doesn't need much, but the initial spot from the officials looks like he may not have gotten it.
Oh, that's a close call, but the side judge coming in from Abilene Christian side says that it's short. Looks like a turnover on down. So is this going to come back to haunt the Miners going for it 4th and short here versus going for a long field goal or potentially pooch punting it down closer to the goal line?
Adam Dorrell pointing in the direction of the south end zone. Dana Dimmel looking a little bit on edge there. And they rule it a 1st down now. Wow. The side judge came running in with his fist up. Looked like he was indicating 4th down. It did not look like the spot was going to be there. It's almost impossible to tell exactly where the ball is with Hardison in that pile of humanity.
Well, it didn't show much there on the replay of any movement of Hardison getting up the field. Abilene Christian was ready for that quarterback sneak there, as UTEP has already gone to that earlier in the game to try and pick up the short yardage.
And now the obvious question is, will they review it? But at the same time, you don't have much to go off of there. It's not on one of the every 5-yard lines, so you don't have a line there. You just have the hash mark. You have a pile of people. So it's so important that they rule it a 1st down, because if you're Abilene Christian hoping to overturn this, it's quite frankly going to seem almost impossible for the officials to be able to overturn it with the views that they have.
Well, it's tough for a line judge in situations like that where you're having to look all the way from the sideline straight down the line for a quarterback sneak where it's just a big muff of bodies in there trying to get it, and it's
well, that's interesting. So now they measured it,
short.
And he didn't get it. So I don't know why the official pointed 1st down. Then they do the measurement, and it's not even close.
Yeah, that one throws me off a little bit too. You'd think it'd be a little bit closer if they say that it was a 1st down, but then when you mark it, it's half a yard short. That's not even close.
So Adam Perez, the head official, indicated 1st down. Then they brought the chains out, and you can see he's about a full yard off. They've got the ball spotted now at the 33. He needed to get to the 32. So now it's a turnover on downs instead, and much the same scenario but flipped. if you're UTEP hoping for some type of review right now, which it doesn't look like that's even coming, it'd be almost impossible to overturn that because you just can't see the football.
Yeah, there's no video evidence to give them enough to overturn the call. And
I'll say this to both of our naked eyes live, we both didn't think he had the surge he needed to get the first down.
I didn't think so either myself, and where they spotted it probably was the right spot.
Yeah.
Based on the movement of the line, which there was none. But for Abilene Christian to step up in that situation, 4th and short, coming out to stuff that and give themselves an opportunity to keep this at a one-possession game with time winding down, that's a huge play in this game.
They go to Darius Lewis, and Lewis is up near the 40-yard line, so bookmark that play with 8:52 to go. 4th and 1, and the Miners can't convert. Instead, a little pitch there on the inside to White here on the first play, and it picks up 7, so it's 2nd and 3.
Well, they're trying to throw UTEP off with a little change of direction and trying to act like they're doing the quick pitch outside, bringing another guy underneath. So it's almost like a little counter action play on offense that they're going to.
Manziel steps up, throws deep over the middle to McConnell. He's got McConnell inside the 20, down near the 15. A big hitter from Peyton Mansell to LJ McConnell, the junior transfer out of Liberty from Cincinnati, Ohio. He threw it right over the middle, placed it perfectly. There was good coverage from Inyang, but McConnell comes down with it, and just like that, Abilene Christian is in the red zone.
Well, I love to see the poise by Mansell on this play. He had a defender right in his face. He makes an adjustment, steps up to the line of scrimmage, and makes a good, accurate throw under pressure down the field into the wind to put them in scoring position inside the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. That's huge for this Wildcats team. And if I look at all of the scoring drives throughout this game today, there's one thing that comes in common from every single one of them.
Big pass play.
There's been a big pass play that sort of gives the team the energy to get it down into the end zone or get some points. So I'll be eager to see if they can continue the trend here on this drive.
That one to the tune of 43 yards, the 3rd catch of the night for LJ McConnell. He only had 44 yards receiving, so 43 of those coming on that one catch. Mansell under duress and goes down, swallowed up by Praise Amahuli, who's had a good night for the Miners after a slow start to the season. He's knocked 2 passes down, and now he knocks Mansell down for his first sack of the year.
Well, that's gut-wrenching for the Wildcats. After a big play to get down in scoring position, to go backwards now and be looking at a 3rd and long down here. When you need a touchdown to tie the game, you would hate to have to settle for a field goal and hope that your defense is able to stop the Miners and get you the ball back with enough time to go down and try and put more points up.
And you can't even assume the field goal going into this direction because they're going into the wind. 3rd and 17, and now a flag and a false start on Abilene Christian, so back it up even further. It'll be 3rd and 22.
Well, there's not a ton of fans here in the Sun Bowl, but they're definitely getting loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but they've picked up the energy here at the end of the game. They're really pulling for their Miners to get their 2nd win of the season. Would have been the most wins for this program over the last 4 seasons at least.
Miners came into tonight through the first 2 games with just 1 sack on the year. They've had a hard time getting pressure on the quarterback. Praise Amahuli getting the sack a moment ago, and now with the penalty, 3rd and 22, and it could be a game-changing sack at that. We'll see what Abilene Christian can do on 3rd down. They keep it on the ground to White, probably hoping to get a chunk there.
Well, it's a very conservative play call, but you see they're sending in the kicking team here. They're going to put trust on their field goal kicker to put this through the uprights, and the fact that their defense is going to have to come out and step up and get a good stop. The clock is ticking now. They've already used 1 timeout. They only have 2 left before the end of the game, so time is definitely of the essence right now.
They spot the ball at the 29-yard line. That's where the holder is. So it'll be a 39-yarder for Blair Zepeda. Remember, it's into the wind. His kick is up, and it is perfect. So not exactly what Abilene Christian wanted, but they get to within 4, and with 2 timeouts to go, still 2 timeouts and 5:19 to play, you put your trust now in the defense.
Well, they've played a good game here today, and if it weren't for the few big pass plays by Hardison down the field, I don't know that UTEP would have the points that they do right now. So Their defense has stepped up here today, especially being their first game of the season. And talking to Coach at the beginning of this week, earlier leading up to the game, they said there was going to be so many bodies playing on defense. For them to be holding up to this point how they are right now, they've definitely proven that they have the ability to ball with anybody.
What do you think of the decision there on 3rd and 22? You stay a little conservative there if you're Adam Dorrell. Keep it on the ground. Maybe trying to catch UTEP off guard there?
Maybe trying to catch them off guard, but I think just being very conservative to the fact that you're down close enough that you can chip away at the lead with a field goal. Make it a little bit easier for your kicker, especially going into the wind.
Sure.
You don't want your quarterback to make a decision, and anything can happen. The defense always tightens up when you get down into the red zone. So no matter what a defense looks like out in the field, when you get to the red zone, the windows are a lot tighter. The decisions have to be quicker. And for it being your first game of the season, take the points as you can get them, be conservative, and you're still in the game.
And Manziel's first game in really a couple of years, the Iowa transfer, as the kickoff goes into the end zone for a touchback. That's a booming kick from Zepeda into the wind to get it into the end zone. So the Miners will take over 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line with 5:19 on the clock. There is an injured player there for Abilene Christian. And it's number 23, Cam Stokes, a little slow to get up, but now he's able to get off the field under his own power. So now you've got your redshirt sophomore quarterback making just his 3rd start of his career. With a banged-up backfield, Josh Fields to his right. And if you could put together a drive here, Trevor, you could win the game, potentially not have to even give the ball back.
Well, this is a big moment for him. He hasn't been in this situation as a starting quarterback to have the lead in this situation. And a big play coming out to start the drive is huge for the Miners. But for Hardison, one of the things you want to focus on is let the clock run. Find out what the play is, let the clock run. And this is your 4-minute offense. How much time can we take off of the clock in between each and every play, but still be efficient once we snap the ball to pick up yards?
Longest run of the night for Josh Fields. Came at a good time. Had 11 carries for 31 yards with a long of 6, but does have that touchdown earlier. That one goes for 13 and a first down, more importantly for UTEP. The clock moving once again after they set the chains, and not as much there on first down this time, only a gain of 1, but UTEP will allow that clock to keep running, and now it looks like Awatt will come back in to spell Josh Fields.
Well, a good rotation of running backs. These guys are coming in fresh, ready to get the ball, and they know it's their time to shine, right? The number 1 and number 2 running back going into this season are both off the lineup for tonight. So when I have my opportunity to play, give me the ball. It's my time to shine.
This is a defense that lost 8 starters for Abilene Christian from a year ago, as well as their stud defensive end, Cam Hill, who elected to opt out as Hardison connects over the middle with Cowing, and that will be enough for a first down up near midfield. So a lot of inexperience on this defense, a lot of new starters on this defense for Abilene Christian, and they're being asked to make a stop here.
They're being asked a lot, and that was a good decision by Hardison. He throws a nice catchable ball to Cowing over the middle, and he protects him. He keeps the receiver down, especially going across the middle. It's already tough. You know there's a lot of bodies flying through there. Give him a nice, easy ball he can catch, get down and protect himself, move the chains. Great ball.
And now the Miners really taking their time. Obviously going to take this under 10 seconds on the play clock. But the game clock down under 3.5 to play. The give is to Awatt. Awatt gets up across midfield and into Abilene Christian territory. Gain of about 2. So Trevor, do you keep the ball on the ground here on second down, or you try to keep that playbook open, maybe another quick hitter over the middle?
I think you keep the ball on the ground. There's no reason to take an effort at throwing the ball, and you need to keep the clock running. You want to run as much clock out as possible. The Wildcats are stuck with only 2 timeouts, so they're trying to hold that until the perfect time to call that. As long as you keep the clock running and you're picking up yardage, giving yourself a chance to win the game.
You think maybe Dorrell will take that second timeout if the defense can keep UTEP at bay here on second down, but Fields breaks into the second level up near the 40-yard line, and they're going to move the chains again. A big run from Josh Fields, and that's going to make it a really big challenge here for Abilene Christian. as they reset these chains, and we're going to be up under 2.5 minutes to go. And still with those 2 timeouts, but that kind of hurts your strategy there on that last series.
Well, that shoelace tackle right there was what they needed to keep that from being a breakout long run. Either way, UTEP picking up the first down. That gives them 3 more downs to keep the clock running, and they're taking care of the clock. You look at Hardison, he's looking back over to the sideline right now, figuring out what play are we going to call right now while we're letting this clock run.
Under 2 minutes to go. You can feel the tension from the Abilene Christian sideline as every second ticks away off that clock. And now there's the first of the 2 remaining timeouts taken by Abilene Christian with 1:47 to go. We'll take one with them, with UTEP leading by 4 and the football with $1:47 to go. $1:47 to play in the 4th quarter here at the Sun Bowl. The Miners clinging to a 17-13 lead against Abilene Christian out of the Southland Conference in the FCS. The Wildcats taking their 2nd timeout on that first down play. It's now 2nd and 8 at the Wildcats' 38-yard line. Back on to Fields. Fields surges his way across the line. Adam Dorrell will take his timeout for Abilene Christian, so that'll set up really the game here on 3rd down, Trevor. Eric Elkin alongside Trevor Vitito, the UTEP standout quarterback. If you can't get a stop here on 3rd down, you're not going to be able to win this football game if you're Abilene Christian.
Oh, definitely not. Right here is the ball game. All UTEP is going to do is take 2 knees and the game is going to be over. So for Abilene Christian, this is a you have to getting
been a little bit banged up already to start the Abilene Christian, meanwhile, opening its season here at the Sun Bowl. The Miners just one of 9 teams in all of college football to be playing a game schedule, or at least they hope, given everything going on. But the Miners have already lost a pair of running backs. Quadres Wadley for the season, Deion Hankins at least for this game. So it's been up to Josh Fields and Ronald Awad, who have the 2 UTEP touchdowns in this game.
Well, if I'm Coach Dana Dimmel, I like the fact that my 2 running backs who hands as much this season or even in the past, an opportunity to show their worth to this offense. They know that their depth chart is deep with guys that can carry the ball and give them a chance to win.
Fields with an ocean, trying to break the last tackle. Gets inside the 20-yard line. He won't score, but he gets the first down that could seal it for UTEP.
Well, that's the game-winning run right there. That's a nice, hard run right up the middle for Josh Fields. He gets the ball, 1 foot in the ground, gets up the field, and a big tackle by number 26 there for the Wildcats to bring him down. Brian Bullock on the tackle, but nonetheless, they just are going to run out of time here for the Wildcats to be able to stop the Miners and have a chance at potentially winning this game. The Miners are just going to take a knee and let this clock run out.
Brian Bullock, the transfer out of Northwestern, the only thing between Josh Fields and the exclamation mark for UTEP. But for a team, Trevor, that has struggled so much in recent years and is in rebuilding right now under Dana Dimmel in their 3rd year, to start 2-1 on the year, albeit with 2 wins against FCS opponents, and to start 2-0 at home for the first time since 2010. It doesn't matter how you get it. It's the fact that this program is winning some football games.
Well, winning football games creates a winning feeling and a winning culture around the program. And for a lot of these guys that have been here, the seniors and juniors, they haven't won a ton of games over the last few seasons. So to have 2 wins in a season in your first 3 games of the season, with it being 2020 and how crazy it could be, there's a lot of endless opportunity for this football team moving forward. And so 2-1 to start the season, you're 2-0 at home. It's really exciting for the program. It's really exciting for El Paso. UTEP football's back.
The final knee from Gavin Hardison as Dana Dimmel and Adam Dorrell, the 2 head coaches from each side, exchange some pleasantries at midfield, and it's official. Final, UTEP wins 17-13 over Abilene Christian. The Miners improving to 2-1 on the year. The Wildcats dropping their opener here at the Sun Bowl against the Miners, 0-1 on the season. Abilene Christian will head on the road again next week to West Point to take on Army. The Miners will also head on the road to take on Louisiana Monroe. And Trevor, with some momentum after that game in Austin a week ago against Texas, they bounce back, get the win, start the season 2-1 as they get one more game before they get into Conference USA play.
Well, a lot of times for teams to go play against a bigger opponent in the Longhorns or any opponent that's a larger program than what you have, to go down and get beat up the way that they did and turn around the next week, make the adjustments you need to, and be able to come out with a win, it reboosts your mindset about the season and moving forward.
Gavin Hardison, 15 of 25, 195 yards on the night. Josh Fields, Ronald Awat, the two running backs, combined for just under 100 yards, but more importantly, the two touchdowns tonight, the only two of the game, and the Miners are able to get the win, 17-13. So for Trevor Vitito, I'm Eric Elkin saying so long from El Paso, Texas, where the final is UTEP 17, Abilene Christian 13. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.